Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire symposium. My name is Nav, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmat, and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is A Feast for Crows, chapters 29 and 30, The Reaver and Jaime. In these chapters, Victarion wins a victory.
And Jaime is not jamming.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. So, Harmat, who died in these chapters?
All the people that the Reaver reaved on the ship. Just basically all the people he killed and then his people killed, and then all the people Euron killed, all those people. And then I don't think anybody by name, except for like a couple of those people that we saw like compete in the Kingsmoot, right? And then they tried to like escape, and then Euron was like, no.
I don't remember him killing anybody. Like, Asha escaped.
Yeah, I'm not, like, there was a couple other people who were like, what the heck? And then he just, like, messed up their ship, and then they died as a byproduct, sort of thing.
I think I forgot that.
I could be making that up, though.
He also killed a warlock, he tells us. Where's the end of the chapter?
Oh, the guy who was blowing the horn? Or someone else?
Also, he's talking about how he came across warlocks at a Karth, and he killed one of them and then fed him to the rest of them. Which is just some, like, did George R. R. Martin, like, come up with this in a dream one day and then just wrote it in every chapter that came after it? Like, what?
Oh my god. Yeah. He does have this thing where he comes up with an idea and then you can actively see him use it in, like, 5 chapters right beside each other, and you're like,
it's a lot.
Okay. He does this with so many things, like good things and bad things, and you're just like, this is an interesting style. It's like, instead of spreading it out, he's like, I'm gonna beat you over the head with this one thing that happens multiple times. Like, and then in Jaime's, I don't think anyone died that we didn't already know about. I think there was a couple common people that they talked about, but nothing that I, like, specifically remember.
Right. I think you're right. Yeah, and, I mean, who cares about the common folk?
Not the point I was making, but
I know.
sure.
I know. I mean, they don't seem to care, so why should we? Okay.
Oh my god.
I think we covered everyone. Then, what did you think of these chapters?
Okay. I don't want to be in this guy's head, bro. Like,
no? Why not?
He's
so honorable. He's got a code and he follows it, and
bro, every single iron person's head we're in is like, it's the same person in different fonts.
Even Asha?
Well, not Asha. She doesn't count. Okay, fine. The Iron Men whose head we've been in have all sucked, and they're basically the same person copy-pasted, and I hate to say it, but low-key, Theon might have been the best of them. Unfortunately, and never did I think I'd see the day where I said that, but here we are, where I'm like,
rest in peace.
No, we started with Theon, and I was like, this bitch. And now I'm like, my man. Like, I kind of miss him now that he's gone. I'm honestly still kind of holding on to, like, he didn't die, he just got decapitated.
Okay, remember, decapitation.
I know,
the severing of the head from the body.
But his head could get glued back on. Maybe. Oh, theory time. Okay. Maybe Euron is gonna bring out Theon because he used his magic stuff to get him back as a human, you know?
But why would Euron be interested in bringing Theon back?
Because then he can
Wouldn't
use
that,
Theon
like... mess with his claim that he's got going on.
No, but Theon himself is gonna give him the seat. You get me?
But he already
Theon's
has
gonna be
the
zombie.
seat.
I know, but I just need Theon to still be alive, so we can just go back to his POVs instead of these ones. Also, his death just feels like incomplete. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like they're gonna bring him back in some way. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that they're so annoying. And even this Jaime chapter wasn't as fun, or like he wasn't being as funny as he usually is. So these chapters were okay. Like, not my faves.
I actually love
this
this chapter. I don't know what you're talking about.
This Jaime chapter?
Yeah, because we learned like so much about.
Yeah, but like he's just not being as vibey as he usually is. And like I don't hate it, but it's just not as good as some of his other chapters.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was good. Like I wasn't like, even like the Reaver chapter, I was annoyed at him, but it was still like, you know, good plot, good vibes that weren't being given by anyone there, but good vibes in the writing. The winner of that chapter was George R.R. Martin. Well, actually, no, he wrote all that, actually. Wait. I take that back. He wrote all that, so yeah, the only good vibes. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think good vibes is the term you want.
Yeah,
Maybe just pick a different term.
That's true. I'm trying to justify the wrong words. It was like okay, like it was, you know, I guess it wasn't as bad as other Ironborn chapters we've had, so I was fine with it because it wasn't that bad. But that's just because my expectations for these chapters have gone down now. Like, I always have to kind of give myself a trigger warning before coming into them anyway.
Okay. So... Well, you thought this was going to be a Davos chapter, so...
Yeah, well, I was wrong. I didn't know what the Reaver meant. And then I searched up a Reaver, and it's like, plunder and raid. And I was like, oh... I thought Reaver was like a more like victorious term, you know? Well, I guess it is, but like in a different way.
For Victarion it is, but
yeah. I thought it was more like, you know, like, oh wait, this was literally a chapter title in this book, but like the prophet, you know how that's like a very like, that's like a super like cool thing to be called, like you're the prophet? I was expecting that sort of vibe from the Reaver.
Oh, I think they are very happy with that title.
Oh, I know, but I was hoping that it would be something that I would also take that way.
Okay. All right, then. So we got the vibes, good or otherwise.
Rancid vibes, be like.
What else do we?
Summary.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Thank you for the reminder. I almost skipped over it.
Damn it.
So, 3, 2, 1, Victarion.
Okay, we see the Reavers reaving in action. He's like, this is great, but can I just kill Euron? And this happens basically the entire time. There's a lot of gross thoughts, lots of gross stuff going on. But then we kind of think he kind of tells us about like the disagreement, like the people who are able to escape, the people who kind of are on Euron's side now, and then they have the dinner after the plunder at the castle, and they're like, hey, and the reader's like, no, this is stupid, and Euron's like, this is what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to Slaver's Bay, and then he has a meeting with his brother, damn it. Jaime is at Derry, and we know that Lancel is now like the lord there, but he doesn't get a very great welcome, so he's kind of worried, has a bath, tells a guy to go have sex with Pia if she wants, goes to dinner, talks to a bunch of different people. Lady Amelie or something. They talk about, yeah, her. They talk about our dead homie Merritt. They talk about Pate. They talk about wolves. Damn it! I said nothing. I got so bogged down by the details.
I think her name is like Emery or something like that, like Amory, so, but they call her Amy.
Yeah. I see. So, the Reaver is Victarion, if we haven't figured that out yet.
Did you realize it right away?
No. Well, they say his name in the second paragraph.
Okay.
I don't know if, like, you know, like,
if there was enough of a mystery there.
Yeah, and there wasn't really time for me to start the chapter and be like, I wonder whose head we're in. Because they also did say Iron Victory right away. Right. So I still was like, hey, we're in the Iron World. You know?
Iron World.
Exactly.
In this cold, harsh world.
It's like Legoland, but Ironland.
One man and his ship, plus 100 other ships, must find the way. Or I don't know.
Please, must raid and reeve and revel in that. Wow, that was kind of good.
Yeah, but it reminded me of the worst line in this chapter, which is when he like leaves the thing and he's like, the sounds of the rape and revelry died down, and I was like, and that was my exact reaction, and moving on.
I either missed that or I just moved on to avoid thinking about it. Because I don't remember that, so thank you for reintroducing that.
Anytime. I'm happy to bring nightmares to your life.
Thank you. I love that. Yeah, okay. So, we start this chapter, and the Reaver is... Okay, so he's in the middle of basically capturing one of the Tyrell's ships. And it's like a little small ship, and he basically, like, jumps on board... And he spends the entire... It's like, okay, so basically it's like fight, die, and then some people fall overboard, basically, is what happens, right? And some people are kind of, like, running away, like, they see him and they get scared, but the entire chapter is just... Not the entire chapter, but a lot of the chapter is him, like, reacting to them and kind of being like, how, like... Oh my god, these people want to be buried on land. These people are running away rather than... Like, he's, like, fighting, but he's also actively so
They
judgmental.
don't wear armor because they're afraid of drowning, but that's the best thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's, like... It's like he goes and, like, chops a guy's head off in, like, one swoop. And I'm like, okay, slay. Like...
Literally.
I don't agree with it. Exactly. I don't agree with it, but he did eat. Like, let's be honest. But then the next moment he's being judgmental, and I'm just like, oh my god, can you not just be happy for 1 second? Like, it's just like, it's a weird thing going on, because he kills someone and he's like, yes. And then he's like, but they're so stupid. And then he moves on, and it's just like, can you just act like an action figure and, like, be cool about it? Like, come on. Anyway. But yeah, so that's my summary. Now let me get into the specifics. So yeah, he's just kind of judging them. He's like, they're not Iron Men. They still fear drowning. He basically is like, come kill me. And he kills like a bunch of people in a row. Like his shield is breaking apart and he still is completely unbothered.
Yeah, his hand gets slashed real bad.
He just grabs a sword from like the teeth and then grabs it and just throws it. And he's judging them for being afraid. I'm like, dude, this isn't like a normal fight. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't like, oh no, they got a little scared and gave up. This is like, no, they had no chance, buddy. Like, they were signing up for failure. But anyway, so he kind of goes in and like takes the lead. And then after he's killed a few people, his Ironborn people jump onto the ship as well. Did we know these names before? Like, he has a guy named Newt the Barber who's, like, one of his homies.
I think they were mentioned, like, in his previous chapter. Okay, yeah. But, like, they're
I think Newt is kind of the only one of note, because then he kind of becomes important later on. Yeah. But he has a few people. And then he's, like, he goes to the captain, and he's like, are you the Lord of South Shield? And he's like, no, I'm the son and heir. My name's Sir Talbot Sari. Okay, so just to confirm, all we know about this person is he's like the heir of the guy on South Shield, which is one of the islands. Okay, yes. But like we didn't have any mention or anything from this guy before, right? Like we don't know who this man is?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, because later on, like, it's kind of unclear whether when he fell overboard, like, he dies or doesn't. So I just was thinking, I was like, is he significant?
I don't think we've heard, like, we don't really know anything about this guy other than what we learned today.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Yeah, so, oh yeah, he apparently has a really good steel sword, and he's pretty good at fighting, like, he's pretty quick, even Victarion admits that, but at the end, this is the guy whose blade he just kind of catches and throws off, and then, yeah, Talbert falls into the water, he probably a dead man, like, honestly.
Do you think there's a chance he survived?
There's a chance, but, like, sure. Like, the way it's written, maybe, but, like, also, like, where is he gonna go is my question. Like,
right.
They're kind of, like, they're not at near the island right now, you get me? Like, so I'm like, where's he gonna go?
Yeah.
Not everyone can have a Davos plot where they're just hanging out on, like, a little wood, like, branch in the middle of the ocean, like.
I think he just found he washed up on one of the tiny islands in the Blackwater.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know if they're near anything right now. Yeah, but anyway, then there's a few people who, like, yeah, so this is when he starts judging the people who are fleeing, but then a few people are staying and kind of taking him in that one-on-one, and he's like, these few are men, they would sooner die than yield, and he says this a few times in different fonts throughout the chapter, where he just is like,
fonts.
like, yeah, he's like, oh, the people who are actually, like, braving what's going on are the men, basically, so we know where his head's at. And then and then he kind of makes this, he had this cool statement where he's like, this is why he'd been put on Earth, like, because he's kind of thinking about how he wasn't very good at the King's Moot, and then he says, like, the drowned god hadn't shaped Victarion to struggle against furtive, sneaking foes in endless bogs. What is he referencing there? Do we know?
So he's referencing, remember he was in charge of Moat Cailin for the longest time, and the bog people were,
okay,
like, harassing them, so he got frustrated, and he was glad when he got the call for the King's Moot, because he was like, I don't like being here anyway.
Okay, cool. Because I was like, I don't remember what he's, like, obviously the King's Moot was the King's Moot, like, we know that. But, okay, that makes sense, yeah. He basically is just reflecting on all the things he's done recently that he's not very good at, and he's like, to fight and to kill makes me feel alive. This is my purpose. Dealing death with every blow. I did love that. That was cool. And then, yeah, basically he's like, I'm just real good at fighting. Like, I have my heavy plate on because I ain't afraid of drowning, and I don't give foes enough time to find the weak points, so I'm eating it up in here, basically. And he's like, damn it, I wish I could deal with my brother as easily as I deal with these foes. Yeah, his Dave Barber guy is like, dude, we won, yay. And then, in the distance, he sees, like, a few longships, like, escaping.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, let him tell the tale. We're gonna, like, whatever.
Apparently this is part of the plan, is to let the word spread that the Ironborn are taking these actions, so.
Yeah, because Euron actually wants them to know and to send their people. Which makes sense to me. Euron feels like that kind of guy.
So is there any more to that, like, Euron's strategy than just wanting the fear to spread? Like, what's the deal? Why does he want the word to spread, basically?
I think, okay, I have a few thoughts. I think, like, partly, like, obviously, he's not a very, like, he's not, like, a hide what I'm doing type of guy. Like, he might hide, like, exactly what his plans are, but, like, I feel like for the most part, he's kind of told us what he wants to do, like, at least overall. So I think it makes sense to me that he's the type of guy where he's like, let him fear me, let my name be heard. And also because he's had to hide away for so long, that I feel like it would also create that urge of, like, shout it from the rooftops, let everyone know. And also I think, like, he's entering the fight to be, like, king or whatever and everything so late that it's kind of like he's got to let people know that he's there.
He's a contender.
He's a contender. And I also think, like, one other thought that I had was he wants to, like, marry Dany, right? Like, that's kind of where he's getting at.
Apparently so.
Which, insane, please, no. But, so that's kind of, like, what he wants, right? So if that's what he wants, then to me it's like, well, how does he get to marry Dany? Like, what are his credentials? And I think he's kind of thinking like the Targaryen way, and like sort of like, I gotta build a name for myself so that Dany will come, because he doesn't know who Dany is, right? Like, he doesn't realize like what kind of person she is.
Yeah, but like, we're gonna get to this at the end of this chapter, but
yeah,
he's not like, I'm gonna convince her to marry.
He's
like, she is like my wife, and all that remains is for her to come to me.
Yeah, but like, still, I feel like there's a little bit of strategy there too, where it's like, after he marries Dany, right? Like, why wouldn't people gravitate to her instead of him? So it's kind of like, once again, he's got to establish himself. Like, it just keeps coming back to that. And then also, I think, like, maybe there's some more specifics with his plan where it's like, if he's a bigger threat, they're going to send bigger people to deal with him. And maybe he wants to be face-to-face with, like, what's his name? Mace Tyrell? That's his name?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The main Tyrell
wrong.
guy.
Saying Mace Tyrell just felt wrong, and I was like, am I making that name up? But maybe he wants, like, to be face-to-face with, like, the bigger foes so that he can take them out quicker. Or, like, maybe that's part of the whole, like, wizardry of it, is, like, he needs, like, you know how, like, Melisandre needs king's blood? Maybe he needs, like, significant... So I don't know, right? Like, I don't know what his plan is, but it makes sense to me that he wants to really get in there and get the important people shouting back at him.
Interesting. Okay. You shall continue with your narrative of this chapter.
Okay, hold on. And then... Okay, yeah. So this is where they kind of tell us that no one had seen where the Lord Sari guy went. And then... Because he's like, oh, where is he? Let's use him for ransom. And they're like, oh, we didn't find him after you went overboard. And then I had a moment where he's like, yeah, young Sari, as he's judging all the other people, people who call themselves sailors, he's like, young Sari had been different, a brave man, thought Victarion, almost Ironborn. And I was like, oh my god, this feels like the type of conspiracy that someone would be like, maybe he is Ironborn. This feels like a Varys is a mermaid theory. But yeah, I have no backing for that, but just a thought. And then he kind of is like, take the captives, take all their arms and armor and stuff, and like bandage them up, and
the ones that are dying, throw them overboard unless they want their throats cut first, which I guess we'll let them have that.
Damn. That, honestly, with the level of, like, wackiness I'm used to from these people, this kind of, I was like, really? Like, they give people mercy like that? I didn't...
Yeah, but he's, like, so contemptuous of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's like, ugh, whatever, I'll do it. But still, just the fact that he did it, like, I was kind of shocked. Like, the bar was in hell, so this was kind of a... It was like, we went from, like, hell 300 to hell 299.5, We moved up slightly.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's thinking, and once again, like, every time he has a win, he just relates it back to how it's Euron's win, and Euron's in charge, and he gets the glory and everything, and he's like, oh, it's a great victory for him and his wizards. He had seduced them, and then he lists out a list of, like, 50 things that he had that seduced them, and then he's like, ugh, Euron stole my wife and stole my throne, and now he steals my glory. That's basically his emotions towards Euron in this entire chapter. Mm-hmm. And we just, once again, he says stuff that we know, like, oh, he's a very obedient person. That's kind of what he was used to. He'd already accepted that like Theon or another one of Balon's kids was gonna be, the leader, and like he was gonna be in the shadows anyway, but he can't accept it that it's Euron.
Yeah, he's always been the one to obey, and he's been cool with it, except when it comes to this guy. So if Theon does like turn up in whatever decapitated form or not, do you think Victarion would be willing to hail him as king instead of Euron?
I think so.
Really?
I think so. Because
Okay.
I think there's also this interesting thing going on with him where, like, it's like he really likes... I mean, we've also only been in his head for one chapter, so I might be reading it wrong so far, but it's like he's very like, oh, Euron's gonna take my glory and my victory and my blah, blah, blah. But then he's also like, I'm an obedient fellow. So is it like he's happy with, like, the praise of just being, like, close to the people in charge and, like, kind of doing his thing and being able to say that I did it? Like, even though Balon was in charge, I got this specific plunder. Like, this is what I did. Like, is that kind of where he's at?
I don't know. I think he wants glory for himself, but up until now, he had taken it as, like, this is how it is because I'm the younger one and, like, these other people are in line.
Getting his chance to...
Now he wants the glory for himself and he's, like, bitter about it.
Okay. Because I was like, I don't know, but maybe we'll get that more later on. But, yeah, so he's like, Euron's plan was good, I'll give him that. Like, now the Mander's open to us. We can go all the way through to, like, Highgarden and Bitterbridge, but we haven't been able to do that for
centuries, basically.
Yeah, like for a while. And oh yeah, they've sent, like, a few quicker longships, like, up ahead, and those are run by Torwald, Browntooth, and Red Oarsmen.
Sure.
And, yeah, just random guys. Like, we hear about them, like, once later. But those guys, are basically just gonna draw, like, the fighting lords from the Shield Islands towards them.
Yeah, they sent ahead, like, a false attack so that all the forces would be drawn to it, and then when they got to the islands themselves would be undefended so that it would be an easy gain.
Yeah, and it worked. I didn't expect it to work as well as it did, but they basically were like, this is the plan, and then they were like, and we've done it.
Apparently, maybe Euron did some magic to make sure it happened, so...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but oh yeah, and the islands are Green Shield, Grey Shield, Oaken Shield, and South Shield.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's a mouthful. And yeah, so Euron likely did some magic. Apparently he appeased the storm god with blood sacrifice, and I'm like, bro, he should just date Melisandre. Like, why go after Dany? Like, leave our poor Dany alone, bro. And then, yeah, but part of the reason that we are assuming that he did a spell too is because they didn't follow the shoreline as they usually do, and instead they kind of were further west, so no one could kind of see them coming, and it would be even more of a surprise. And then, yeah, so we learn about Euron's wizards a little bit. He has basically enslaved 3 wizards, and then, like, they are basically the ones doing, like, magic stuff for him, I guess.
Apparently. So is rumored, like...
Yeah, right. Like, we haven't seen these people doing stuff yet. But then Victarion is like, okay, but he still needs me, because they can't fight, And then he's like, if I don't strike the blow with my own hand, am I still a kinslayer?
Yeah, he's thinking about, like, how can I get rid of this guy?
Yeah.
Is this when he's with the dusky woman, quote unquote?
Yeah, he is. I think he's kind of talking out loud to her.
Let's talk about her a little bit as well. So she is somebody that Euron, like, took off, like, kind of enslaved from a ship that he plundered, right?
Yeah.
And then just gave to Victarion as a gift, as you do,
Yeah.
And Victarion didn't want her, but then Euron said that he was just going to kill her anyway, so then he took her, I guess. But...
yeah. It's interesting, because, yeah, weird, gross, don't like. But it also is kind of like what I was saying before, where I feel like there's, like... I feel like there's still that, like, obedience in him, regardless of how much he hates Euron, because I feel like this whole chapter is, like, him, like, critiquing him and being like, this bitch, what should I do about him? But then also still just, like, doing the thing. Like, when he's in front of Euron, he's not saying anything, and during the whole mission that he was given, he just kind of went ahead and did it. It's not like he was like, Euron, we shouldn't do that. Like, so it's like he's trying to fight his obedience, but it's, like, not really working, which also kind of makes me think, like, how's it going to go with the Dany thing? Because he's like, oh, I'm going to get her for myself, but, like, just from all of his actions so far, I'm like, are you? Or are you just going to, like, begrudgingly do it for him anyway? Because that's kind of where it feels like we're going.
That's, like, all of these people are really just assuming that Dany's going to be all for it.
Yeah. That too. But, like, ideal world, Dany's like, y'all are slaying, let's slay together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are they thinking? You know? Like, I don't know, it's just interesting. And I feel like the point I was gonna make is, oh yeah, do they ever even name her? They don't, right? What did they call her again? No, the
Dusky
girl
woman.
he's with.
No, she's an object, therefore only referred
okay.
to through adjectives.
Dusky woman. Okay, so the dusky woman, I guess. The point I was gonna make is, like, same thing. It's like he literally has specific trauma with who, like, he was sleeping with, and then related to Euron. And even then, when it's something so closely related to the reason that he despises Euron, he still is like, oh well, and then ends up, like, sleeping with her and being with her anyway. Mm-hmm. Which to me is just fully like, if that wasn't, like...
if that didn't break your obedience, then what will?
What will, thank you. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Because that's so closely related to, like, why he, like, went and murdered his own wife. You know what I mean?
Salt wife,
right, yes.
Also not real people, you know?
Right, yes. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like he's complaining to her, but she's also the person that Euron gave him. So it's just like, dude, pick a lane. But I guess also, like you said, like, he's just now getting this sense of, like, okay, what does it look like when I'm not obedient, when I'm getting the glory, whatever. So I guess we'll see this develop. Maybe this could be an interesting arc. Yeah, anyway, I'm done my analysis, I guess. Where were we? Oh, yeah, bro, literally proving my point. When he's thinking about, like, if I don't strike the own blow on my Kingslayer, he tells us that Damp Hair is still hoping to raise the Ironborn against Euron.
Yeah. He's apparently still on the Iron Islands, like, trying to muster up people against him. And
he's
he
like,
came
I'm
to
gonna go
Victarion first to be like, you should back me in this, and Victarion was like, no, he won kind of fair and square, so, and you're the one who organized the whole thing. So I'm just gonna go with it for now. So
yeah, but then Damp Hair's like, no, the like, oh, he has a cool line where he's like, the knights and not the knights, they don't have knights. The lords, like, the lords, like, brought him up, and now I'm gonna get the common people to bring him down. You know, which was kind of a cool line, and I was like, that would be cool if we could make it happen. But yeah, as he's thinking about that, he's like, oh yeah, like, they're gonna try to do these things, blah blah blah. But what a man can do and what a man will do are two different things, which also further is, like, he's talking about himself too.
Right, like, technically he's talking about who are such a good shot that they can kill Euron. Yeah. But yeah, you're right.
Which,
he is kind of talking about
people
himself.
He points out are specifically the people who then Euron is like, hey, you should be Lord, you should be Lord, you should be Lord. Which is kind of smart. So now we're taking out people who can target you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he's talking about them, but that just literally summarizes what I was saying before, so just wanted to point that line out. He's basically telling us, I ain't gonna do shit. Like,
so they get, which island is it that they're all stationed at?
I have no idea.
One of the islands that they have plundered. They get to it, and Euron has set up shop in the castle, but all the, like, surrounding area has been burned and plundered and all of that. And they get to the castle, and there's the feast to celebrate their victory, and Euron has taken, like, the bastard daughter of the Lord as his, like, side piece. I don't know. Like, yeah, she's there, and he's forcing all the highborn ladies of the house to be the servants because they treated the bastard-born girl not well. And at one point, they're like, he also orders them to take off their clothes while they're serving because the bastard girl wants those clothes and doesn't want them dirty. So that's the general situation.
Not great. There's a line, apparently, who's Baelor Blacktide? Who's that again?
Who knows?
Was that just one of their guys? Okay. He said it as though I should know. And I was like, who is this? Basically some guy who I think later, like, got killed. I think this was the guy I was talking about where, like, he didn't subscribe to Euron and then Euron, like, messed up his ship or something. But he says Balon was mad, Aaron is madder, and Euron is maddest of them all. And this line kind of comes back a few times too, and I feel like the stuff at the feast really shows that too.
Yeah, so they're celebrating, and Euron makes, like, a big speech about all the great stuff they're gonna do, and he announces the lords of these new islands, which are all the guys that could potentially be against him, but now he's got them on his side. And one of the guys is the barber, who is Victarion's, like, main guy, and Victarion's like, oh no, he's, like, trying to take my people away from me too. And he tries to tell the guy to be like, hey, don't take his offer of lordship. And the guy's like, what?
Are you gonna give me a lordship?
Yeah, like, of course I am.
Yeah.
So, at least later on, they drink together, and he's like, I don't begrudge you your thing. It's cool, you know, we're cool. You did what you had to do, I guess.
Yeah.
But as Victarion is, like, going on about the dragons and everything, the reader speaks up, who is also here, by the way. Interesting, since he was such a supporter of Asha's, you know?
Yeah. Maybe she has him here to watch out for and, like, relay to her.
Oh, interesting. Maybe. So he's basically like, I don't know about this plan of yours. Those dragons are so far away, and also, like, it's the fall, it's autumn, the storms are a while in, like, we don't want to be here. We want to be here and not leave on this big voyage, is what he says, the opposite of it.
Yeah.
And some people, like, clearly agree with him. Like, there's a little bit of dissent in the hall. And Victarion just, like, leaps up and leaves.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he doesn't, like, say anything, which was a weird move. I don't even know if it's a power move or just a weird move. He just kind of was like, "Okay,
keep
bye."
on guessing, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Weird. Did we talk about how he's reintroducing slavery?
Oh, yeah. So, like, a different version of slavery, rather. So,
yeah, right, yes.
The Ironborn don't sell slaves. They they have thralls where they enslave people for servitude to themselves, but they don't sell them on, and their kids are born free and all of that, and blah, blah, blah. Which is, like, that weird, like, honor code I was talking about with Victarion. He's like, yeah, we don't do that. We don't sell people, we enthrall them. And he later on he's also talking about when they are forcing the women to take their clothes off, and, like, basically dishonoring, or what's the word I'm looking for, like, basically dishonoring them. He's like, that's not the way. Like, we kill our enemies. We don't.
I think he literally says we don't dishonor them.
Okay, so maybe dishonor is the word. Yeah. So, like, he's got his, like, you know, interesting code of honor.
In the sand, yeah.
But, like, Euron is pushing against all of those as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So Victarion is drinking with his people, and he drinks a little too much. And then one of Euron's bastard sons, I don't think we realized until now that he had sons.
He had, yeah. I didn't know that.
One of those kids comes and, like, calls him. Apparently Euron wants to speak to Victarion. So he gets up and goes, and Euron is, like, hanging out in the Lord's, like, main room and naked. And Victarion is like, dude, stop. Just, like, cover yourself. He's quite prudish, I guess. But he...
Well, I think it's also just... literally the reason he hates Euron is because of his dick.
Right, that's true.
Like...
And I guess maybe Euron did it on purpose.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Even with giving, like, what was it? The something lady.
Dusky woman.
Thank you. I kept thinking drowsy, and I was like, that's not the right word.
Oh.
Yeah. Even with the dusky lady, it's like, dude, you're trying to hit a nerve. Like, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Without a doubt.
And then also, like, oh, you specifically go get my wife for me. Like, all of those things are like, he just, like, wants him to explode, which is interesting.
Which makes me kind of be like, how much does he care about this plan if he's willing to do this? Or maybe he's just so sure of his obedience despite all the things.
Like, but he just, like, because the fact that he went and did that in the first place, he clearly doesn't really, like, care about his brothers or, like, love them, really, you know? So maybe it's just, like, he's just his pawn, right? But he's like, why don't I torture him a little bit along the side? Like, you know, as he does my, like, duties.
Yeah. So Euron starts a conversation with, when I was a boy, I dreamt I could fly. When I woke, I couldn't, or so the maester said. But what if he lied?
Bran-coded?
Good. Okay, interesting that you say that, because, okay, remember that time when we read the Bran chapter in Game of Thrones and I freaked the fuck out and you were like,
I was thinking about that exact chapter. I was thinking about that exact chapter.
So, theory time.
Mm-hmm.
The theory is maybe the three-eyed crow came to Euron offering to teach him to fly, but Euron was unsuccessful. And part of what kind of lends credence to this is that when Bran is, like, flying in that dream, and he goes, like, north and north and north and north, he sees the bones of dreamers who could not fly. So that kind of suggests that maybe, like, the three-eyed crow has tempted other dreamers with this. I don't know.
That's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and they're, like, I don't know how much of, like, the theory is extended. Like, people are like, oh, yeah, and then, like, Euron found out about the others because that was, like, part of the dream, right? And then now, instead of, like, fighting the others, he wants to be one of the others or something.
Oh, okay. People take it a lot further. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know about that, but I do like this idea. Because, like, why such similar language, you know?
Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah. Oh my god, okay, I'm happy I made that connection then. Slay. See, in an alternate universe, I'd be so involved in these theories too. I just can't be, because spoilers.
Yeah, well, maybe once we finish the series, we all know that book 6 isn't gonna be here, so you can just go theorize with everybody.
No, that's so sad. Bro, I was looking at this book, like, it's almost over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm so confused. I feel like just a couple weeks ago, we were like, hey, we're halfway. And now I'm looking at the book, and I'm like, did you lie to me? It feels like we're a lot more than halfway.
I did not lie to you.
Wild. This is wild. Because we also have the appendix at the back, so it takes away... Mm-hmm. I don't know. Weird. This is weird universe we live in.
Okay, no other thoughts?
No, that was kind of it. What were we talking about? Oh, dragon. Dragons. Okay, yeah. I think I'm kind of there. I also was thinking, like, maybe the fly is also related to, like, you know how, what's his face? Oh, God, what was his face? Arion or something? Like, Egg's brother who was evil? Was his name, like, Arion?
Maybe it was Aaron?
Aaron? Okay. That guy, you know, the evil, annoying guy, he also, you know how he died because he was like, I'm a motherfucking dragon, and then he...
It wasn't Aaron, it was something else.
Okay. But you know how he literally died because he was like, I'm a dragon, so he, like, basically lit himself on fire or something?
Right. Yes, he drank wildfire.
Right.
He was like, I'm gonna turn into a dragon by drinking wildfire, so...
Right, yes.
He died the fiery death he deserved.
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking, like, I was thinking the Bran thing, but then I was also kind of thinking about him. So maybe it's kind of like the dragon, like, you know how he's like, oh, I want that dragon, and then he had that experience of trying to get that dragon to...
Oh, it was Arion. Aerion, so maybe I guess Arion it is. Wow, look at you remembering. I remember that he was called, like, Brightful Fire or something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, so I was thinking about, like, the dragon-codedness, but then also just like, oh, I want to fly, you know?
Are you saying Euron is a secret Targaryen? Is that what I'm hearing?
Am I coining a secret Targaryen theory? Oh my god.
I don't think you're coining anything, Harmat. That is really ambitious of you to think.
You know what? Okay, I have no exposure to what people out there think. So I'm gonna think I'm coining everything, because I don't know what people are thinking, you know?
Right.
Because in my head, I'm going in the wrong direction. So if I'm going in the wrong direction, why would people have coined what I'm saying? If it's wrong, you know?
And because people are so logical and genius. Yeah. Always correct.
Roasted. Okay. Oh my god.
I'm just saying, okay? Not directed at any particular person, but, like, in general, myself included, people can be wrong.
That's true. I think in my head, like, everyone else is right and I'm wrong, just kind of all the time. So that's kind of how I function. That's okay. Anyway, dragons. And flying. Yeah, so I hadn't really, like, fully formed those thoughts, but I was kind of thinking about flying, I was kind of thinking about dragons. So, I don't know, I also just wonder if, like, the wanting to be able to fly and the connection with wanting dragons is there, too, where, like, he wants, like, the dragons and then, like, wizardry combined is gonna help him fly. So maybe, like, I guess adding to the theory, maybe, like, the three-eyed crow method failed, so now he's gonna go do this instead. Like, he's gonna get dragons, and either that's the closest he can get, or, like, the dragons are gonna, like, somehow combined with like wizardry are gonna be able to help him fly. Some sort of, like, dark magic vibe.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we on with this conversation?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Victarion's response to this is like, I want to fly. And Victarion's like, there's a window. Have a go.
I enjoyed that. That's kind of one of the only moments I genuinely enjoyed Victarion.
So Victorian's like, no, that's not what I mean. I mean dragons. And Victorian's like, well, nobody's gonna believe in these dragons. They want the things that they know exist, like gold and food and all that. And Victorian's like, it's too bad that they don't believe me, because, I once held the dragon's egg in this hand. Some Mirish wizard told me that if I gave him a year and all the gold that he required, he could hatch the egg. Mm-hmm. But the guy was unsuccessful, and Euron killed him, even though the year wasn't up. So.
Oh my god.
And then that's when he's like, the guy who blew that horn, he's dead. Oh and when they cut him open, his lungs were charred, black as soot. So what was his claim with this horn again? Remind me.
I don't remember. I think he just kind of was like...
No, he said, this is the horn that will bind dragons to me. Or something.
Oh, that's what he said? Oh, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember that at all.
He definitely said that.
He might have. I just don't remember it.
Okay, when you say stuff like this, I'm like, am I spoiling you, or are you just not remembering things?
It could honestly completely be either. He might have said that. Hold on. I can try to find it. Yeah. With this horn, Iron Man, I can bind dragons to my will.
Basically verbatim what I said.
Oh, I completely forgot about this. Okay, but in my defense, that was 200 pages ago.
Right. So, but if the person that blows the horn dies from, like, fire in their lungs,
right?
How effective is this binding?
So I guess the point is, it would need to be, like, Dany blowing it. And that's why...
Why would it need to be Dany blowing it? The dragons are already bound to her.
But maybe, like, she won't die because the horn will be like, oh, but the dragons are yours, therefore you can use this tool.
But they're already her dragons. She doesn't need to be blowing no horn to get them.
No,
on
but
her
she
side.
can use the horn to, like, transfer them to Euron.
You're really assuming that Dany's gonna be on board with all this.
I am not saying she's going to be on board. I am in Euron's head. I'm trying to think what he's thinking. I don't think
so.
Dany's
The person
cool
who wants to do the binding is not the one that has to blow the horn.
I don't know. Maybe he thinks he's gonna convince her. I don't know. Or maybe, like, he just said he was gonna bind them to his will because he didn't realize that the guy was gonna die. Like, maybe that's a flaw in his plan, right? Like, he didn't realize that was gonna happen. And now he's telling him, like, hey, the dragons aren't just gonna bind to my will with this thing. I need to go marry the person who owns the dragons.
Okay, so this is plan B.
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. What do you think?
I can't say.
What did you think back in the day? Did you have any cool theories? Did you think accurately back in the day?
Mostly because I don't remember, and also because I can't remember.
All right.
Oh, okay. So basically, he had an egg, but he threw it in the sea during one of his dark moods. What do you think about that?
I don't know what that means. I'm like, your dark moods. Is our baby girl depressed? No, I don't know. Like, does he just, like, is this why he's evil? Like, he just goes to his dark mood? Well, he's evil in his normal mood, too,
not
though.
the dark mood part. The throwing the dragon's egg in the sea part. Oh. You find such weird things to latch onto.
Okay, because I have an interesting brain, okay? It finds interesting
That's one way to say it.
It's called being detail-oriented, but it's really just being useless facts-oriented. Anyway, yeah, so dumbass? Like, why would you throw that away? You couldn't have just finished the year off? Which really tells us a lot about his attitude. I'm like, is he just gonna give up the mission and that's how we win? So you think he's telling
the truth about that?
Well, I actually didn't consider that he might be lying and he might have it. Oops. See, that's the thing, because I didn't even think about it, so I didn't really get to any conclusions. I'm thinking about it right now. That's totally possible. He might have it and he's just saying, like, Oh my god. But, like, I feel like he's been pretty honest about a lot of other things, so why wouldn't he tell him?
Is he, though?
It feels like he's been, not because, like, okay, I think, like, the very, like, boastful claims, that's not necessarily honesty, right? He might have even known that, like, oh, the horn itself might not work because there might be something else going. Like, obviously, I feel like the things he's saying out there aren't necessarily accurate, but I also don't think he's out here, like, lying.
Okay.
Like, I feel like he's still kind of being like, this is what we're gonna do, we're gonna go here.
All right.
Like, he's not really keeping things under wraps.
Since you have so much faith in him, I hope it pans out.
Not faith, but, like, yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I guess he could just not want to show the dragon's egg. But, like, what's Victarion gonna do?
Maybe he doesn't have the egg, but maybe he also didn't throw it in the ocean.
Right, like someone took it. Maybe that's
maybe he gave it to someone as payment for an assassin.
To Jaqen Hagar for killing Balon?
Maybe.
Oh my god. I guess. And, like, I guess Jaqen's got Jaqen's got magic. Oh my god. Are we about to get a fourth dragon in this world?
Well, you're definitely about... It's just a theory. I'm just sharing the theory.
That's a cool theory. I like that. Wow. That makes sense, though, because how he that rich? But also he has, like, a whole fleet, and, like, he clearly hasn't been poor all these years. Yeah,
but remember... No. Because, like, it's not clear what price the Faceless Men charge. Like, is it $500 an hour? Like, you know? So maybe the price varies depending on who's paying it.
Right. Like, for some people, they'll take gold, or some people, like, give us this valuable thing you have.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, that's a cool theory. I like that. I'm gonna write that down. Maybe he gave it to Jaqen. Oh my god, Arya's gonna meet a dragon, guys.
Is Arya with Jaqen?
Well, Jaqen's gonna show up.
Okay.
Arya's gonna meet a dragon. Maybe he gave it to Jaqen as payment. Wink, wink. But I also, like, I guess my thing is just, like, would he give it? That's why that kind of feels far-fetched. Because it's like, wouldn't that kind of be his most prized possession? If he
he tried to hatch it and nothing happened, and then instead he can get the sea stone chair.
But I feel like... I don't know, though, because now I guess, like, he does feel like the type of impatient lad to be like, I can't make this egg happen, so I'll just go grab the dragons that already exist. But it also just feels foolish to be like, there are 3 of these in the world. And, like, oh, there's one of this one. That's still an egg. Like, obviously there's others out there, but, like, we don't know where they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, like, that just feels so rare. Like, you couldn't have traded anything else. You couldn't, I don't know, it just feels like, I don't know, but interesting theory. I guess I don't really have thoughts. I'm just kind of saying the same thing over and over, so let's move on.
Okay. So,
interesting, though.
Euron's basically like, okay, the reader kind of has a point. They're not all gonna follow me there, and also it's not really the best use of resources to send a huge fleet that way, because they'll inevitably get separated, and it'll be hard for them to do it. Only the best of our fleet, the Iron Fleet, can do this, and Victarion's like, wait, but I run the Iron Fleet.
Exactly. Like, even the way he thinks about it is so, like, of course, brother, coded.
No, it's like, what do you mean, coded?
But it's still he wasn't angry enough at this.
Okay.
That's my point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was too, like, oh, but that's mine. Like, you know? Like, it was just too, like, Come on.
Well, so Victorian's like, what? And Euron's like, well, here, why don't you have some of this wine? And he pours this wine, which looks black, but is actually blue. Mm-hmm. And it's actually Shade of the Evening. Do you remember this?
No.
Of course not. This is the thing that Dany drank before she went into the House of the Undying and had all those visions.
Whoa.
The wine of the warlocks. I came upon a cask of it when I captured a certain galleass out of Karth, along with some cloves and nutmeg, 40 bolts of green silk, and 4 warlocks who told a curious tale. So these are clearly the warlocks that were escaping after having their house been destroyed by Dany. So you didn't put any of this together.
No. That's how he found out about Dany and all the detail. Oh, I was gonna ask you. I was gonna be like, do we know how he knows about Dany? Oh my god.
And and remember, his lips are blue. So he's straight up chugging this stuff. And Dany took it for an hour and was like,
yeah. Of course he's like, I'm a fly, I'm a very Dany. Of course! Oh my god, that makes so much more sense of who he is and what he's up to. That's probably why he also just, does the weird, when he just, kind of left.
Yeah.
The hall. He's probably just let me go to my visions.
Control of all of his capacities, maybe.
Oh my god.
So yeah. He's a little high. Wow. A little too high, maybe.
Please.
And he's like, okay, and I need an heir because I'm going to take over the Iron Throne. And you can have, once I do that, you can have the Ironborn area and your kids can have those and whatever. But for all of that to happen, I need to marry somebody worthy. And the only person that is Daenerys. He doesn't actually say Daenerys, I don't think. Does he say Daenerys?
I don't think her name. So, no.
But basically,
I think he just is pretty woman. Basically.
Sure. Yeah. And so he's like, and I need you to go and get her for me. And Victorian's like, I guess I could do that. Or I can go and get her for me. And that's basically how the chapter ends.
Yeah. Even that, it's just kind of in his head. He's like, that's what I'll do. I'll show him. Do what he did to me.
Basically.
Oh my god.
So, predictions.
I'm still shocked.
As you should be.
I learned a lot right now.
Okay, do you need a moment to process it?
No, I think I'll process as we talk, but I'm just warning you that I'm thinking.
All right. So, okay, you don't think that Victorian can actually disobey Euron?
I think he can, but he's gonna need a little more, we're gonna need, a third person in here to motivate him or something.
Okay.
I think he's capable of it, but it's just not looking like he's gonna do all he says he is. I think he would need more going on to do it. I would hope that he can, but right now it's just not looking like he's gonna,
But he is gonna embark on this journey.
I think so, yeah.
How is that gonna go?
It'll be interesting. I mean, first he has to get there.
Right.
Probably not kill too many people along the way, so they don't know he's coming.
Will he be successful well, let's break it down. Will he be successful in getting there in the first place?
I think so.
And will he will he then be able to convince Dany to marry either him or Euron?
No freaking way.
Okay.
There's
who knows what Dany's up to, so.
Yeah, we haven't seen her this entire book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Kind of worried about her. Is she okay? This just is such Jorah core. We just escaped Jorah, And now we're back to a guy who's gonna show up and be like, Miss Ma'am, I know what's best for you, and it's me. Not this other guy. But, like, this other guy also wants you. Like, it's just, I'm tired of this. We just left Jorah, like, a minute ago.
Yeah. Okay, so he will get there, but he won't be successful, and no dragons for Euron, therefore. But what about this Horn situation?
Horn situation, I think he'll try and maybe use the horn to get the dragons anyway. Like maybe he can do some sort of spell where it works or something, or I don't know. Like I feel like there's gotta be some sort of reason for why Dany would even consider this. You know what I mean? Like there's gotta be some sort of conflict. Like maybe it'll kind of just be the thing of like Dany, you need people who are like fighters, and you need people that like you don't have to worry about feeding. And if you ever want a chance at getting Westeros, you gotta go with me because I'm doing it anyway. You know what I mean? Like that could be a compelling argument for Dany, right?
Maybe.
But the dragons are so dear to her heart, so I don't know if she would. Like I don't know. Like how is this gonna be pitched? So I don't know, because I do see like why this could be an interesting proposal for Dany, but I don't see why it would have to be like absolutely signing the contract right now, you know? So I kind of worry like what's gonna go wrong for Dany that she would need to accept something like this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because right
so
now,
you're
like,
now like
she doesn't have to.
She's not gonna accept it, but then be forced to accept it because of some bad situation.
Yeah, but then she's gonna team up with Jon instead, and everything's gonna be okay.
What?
And we won't have to deal with Euron.
Oh, who knows what Jon is up to? Like maybe he's
true.
Off marrying Ygritte's ghost.
Marrying Ygritte's ghost is so specific that I have to believe it's true. Oh my god. That's
funny. He already has a wolf named Ghost, so
you
just gotta name it Ygritte, and then it's Ygritte's ghost.
That's funny. But also like another thought, just like, you know, morality vibes. Dany's here, and then Euron is all the way over there.
How's that morality?
Not morality, but just like who they are as people. Like that's not gonna.
Oh, I thought you were talking geographically.
Oh my god.
And I was like, yes, they are on the opposite sides of the world. And
oh my god. Yeah, like I just feel like even down
like their
to
values don't align.
Yeah. They also just keep talking about like, oh yeah, like Dany's in Slaver's Bay, like blah blah blah, and like now we know that the information he has is from like the House of the Undying people, right? And that was before she'd freed any of the enslaved people or any of that stuff. But he does
know that the price for enslaved people is going up because he plans to sell all the people he's enslaved.
Yeah.
And to know that, he would know that there's a shortage of slave people because Dany has freed them.
Okay, and he's just like, yeah, but she'll be cool with it because it's me? Or like, I'll make her cool with it?
Well, by that time, I will have already sold them, so I'll just promise not to sell any more.
Right. I guess, yeah.
Logic. Remember, this guy is literally tripping balls.
That's true. Some of these things make a lot more sense having that context now. Like, wow. See, I fully forgot about those people. All I remember about that interaction is that she girl-bossed her way out of there, and also that she saw the lemon tree, and then she saw the three heads of the dragon thing. And we were like, whoa, it's her.
It might be worth it to go back and
to
reread
some of the mythical chapters. Mm-hmm. I probably should. Yeah, someone make a list of all the like magic-y chapters that I need to go back to, because I do want to go back to the Bran one and go back to the Dany one, because I think it'll help me with, as we get closer to the end of the book, I think it'll also help me with, like, hey, what's gonna happen in book 5 as well. Yeah, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, him tripping balls makes a lot more sense. And I'm still kind of reeling. And, oh yeah, they are on complete, like, what? I don't know what they think is gonna happen, but I guess they're just hoping that Dany's gonna be so desperate for the throne, which I guess has been Dany's challenge this entire time, right? Is like, do I follow in the footsteps of my people or do it differently based off of my own experiences? So, I guess we'll see. Damn.
Wow. Okay.
Damn.
Now,
okay, I like this chapter a lot more, having more context and theories at it.
And not even theories, just knowing what on the page means.
You know what? Whatever, okay. Not everyone remembers things from 2 books.
Shade of the evening, more like Shade of the Forgotten.
Okay. Tell me who remembers this from 2 books ago.
I remember.
Okay, well, that's different, okay. I'm sure I'll remember it now that I know. Damn.
Alright, so Asha, apparently she escaped after the Kingsmoot.
I thought she was gonna work her way up the corporate ladder, like, all the way to Euron, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like they've gotta be launching some sort of, like, rebellion, right? Because where else is she gonna go? This is the only thing she's ever known. Like, maybe she's doing the damp hair thing of trying to get the masses involved,
Okay, are they gonna team up? Like, what's damp hair up to right now?
They should, but he's so hateful and she's so smart, like, why would they, But they probably should, right? Because he's got the religious aspects and she's got, like, the, hey, good people join me, He's got the bullying them into it. She's got the logic them into it.
So she's, like, undercover on the islands just trying to get people on her side.
Yeah, because I just don't know, like, where she would go, right? Like,
Victarion's like, she should go marry some northern lord and, like, hide out there.
My god. Ugh.
Interesting coming from the guy that got hard immediately at the thought of her potentially marrying him. Remember that?
God.
He was like, oh. She was like, we can work together. And he was like, together? You mean marry me? Like, so... God.
Oh, God. I forgot about that.
Let's move on to Jaime's chapter. Because I'm done talking about it.
Okay. Okay, so we get to Derry. So they get there and all the people, ain't nobody giving them a warm welcome. And he's like, wow. And it was closed and he's like, damn, like, Lancel really doing me like that.
Is on the mend, but they're very of strangers. As they should be.
Yeah. And then he sees the banner and he's like, oh, nice. He's got the Lannister flag, but he still has the
Derry flag because it's going to lend legitimacy to his claim over these lands, even though he has no legitimate claim to these lands.
And he's like, damn, Kevin should have been Tommen's hand. Come on, Cersei, what you doing? And he's like, hey, we're gonna...
We know what she's doing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so they get in. They're gonna make camp, like, all the soldiers are gonna make camp outside, but obviously Jaime's gonna stay inside. They get inside. Nobody's to be found. Some people are like, Amy and her people are apparently preparing for their arrival and dinner. Lancel, we learn, is praying, which is what all he does, and also he is fasting and surviving on air.
How long has it been I was like, how long has it been eaten since he's like, what? Dude. Ugh.
Yeah.
Bro.
So he's gone, like, health. Real extra. He's
gotten real extra pious. Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say extra religious, but then I thought in my head extraterrestrial, and then I just laughed to myself at the thought of that.
Extra religious, extra religious, but extraterrestrial.
He's basically an alien. So Pia is there, and she is not impressed by the Dairy Castle because she grew up in Harrenhal, and Harrenhal is literally the castliest of all castles.
She's kind of the opposite, but the same. Oh, I don't know. I had a thought, but I don't know if it's true. But it's kind of like, you know how Gilly was so used to Craster's Keep that when she went outside to like, and she was like, "What?" It's kind of like the opposite, where she's grown up in such a big spot. Now she's going to like a small castle, and she's like, "What?" Like, yes, opposite but the same.
Good comparison. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
also, Kate. Sorry. Side note, not important. Is the Rock really big? Because he says every castle will seem small to her except the Rock. And I'm like, is that just him being a Lannister?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, I don't remember it being Harrenhal level, like...
Well, I think it's up on a cliff, so maybe the cliff adds to the grandeur. I don't know.
Right. I guess. All right.
So they've shown up unexpectedly because everybody's like, I thought you were heading straight for River Run. And Jamie's like, well, you were on my way. But no, he's here for personal reasons. Which is why he's like, I'm here for personal things, not duty. So now while I'm here, I'm going to wear my Lannister garbs. Because, like, you know.
It's he probably just wanted to look pretty again.
Well, he's got this, like, whole, like, thing about what he wears and which horse he uses dictates which motivations he's displaying.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, we're going to hang out for a while and we got food, but just, like... have us around for a while. And he's looking around and there's a hell of a lot of sparrows there, all armored. And also way too many Freys, because Amy is a Frey as well as like her mom having been a dairy. And he's thinking back to the last time he was here on the way back from Winterfell a little bit, which we will elaborate on later.
Insane.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, yeah, we'll take you to here, let's get you settled. I'll take you to your room. So they're walking down the halls and he's like, what? There's like no wall hangings. It's all so bare. And the maester guy, right? It's the maester who's leading him there.
Yeah, Maester Autumnmore.
Yeah, Maester's like, oh yeah, Lancel's gonna put up some hangings of piety and devotion. And then Jaime remembers, interesting, because the last time I was here, the walls were also bare, but that was because the Dairies had hastily taken down their Targaryen hangings because Robert was coming.
They be loyal.
And Tyrion was the one who kind of figured that out, so. He thinks about Tyrion a lot, and mostly fondly in these chapters, which is, because remember, they had a bit of a little bit of a spat, a little fight when they last saw each other. But just in this chapter, I've noticed Jaime thinking about Tyrion like, oh, he would be so clever here, or like all those things, you know? Like, there were some not so great comments either, but more of the fond brotherly comments.
Yeah, it was like back to the OG when he would be like, I feel so guilty, but I love him. Like, basically was his whole thing before.
So he gets taken to the room, and it is like the main, like, lord's apartments or whatever. And apparently Lancel doesn't use these at all because he sleeps in the sept. And Jaime's like, what is he thinking? He's got to get his wife pregnant if he's going to have any claim over this. Yeah. And he wonders whether, like, this kind of behavior is the reason that Kevin left Derry and is no longer there. And then he's like, okay, cool, this room suits me, I'll take a bath. So he gets his people to, like, set up a bath, and one of his squires...
Right before the bath, like, he's, like, kind of noting the room of the, like, the lord, whatever, and he's, like, kind of he's like,
all the furniture isn't up to par.
Was that just him?
All the furniture would have been burnt during the plunderings, so they built new furniture, but they built it real quick and shoddy.
Badly. Okay, that's what I thought. So, and he's just dwelling on it because he's like, bro, Lancel should be here, and he should have made it better, or is he just annoyed at like the war conditions? Like, what is he annoyed at here? That's what I'm kind of missing.
Just noting the differences between since the last time he was in this room having sex with Cersei while Robert was passed out on the floor, and now,
Right. Okay, yeah. I guess I just just the tone of the paragraph, I was just a little confused, but that makes sense.
Pia is there helping him get some clothes and stuff, and just looking at her is getting him aroused again. He's like, ooh. God. But then he starts thinking about being in another bath, one he'd shared with Brienne.
Okay, he says, like, oh, I'd been feverish and weak, and I'd been so dizzy from the heat. He found himself saying things better left unsaid. Was that just when he was being real honest about, like... Yeah, okay, cool. Because I was like, because the thing was, because obviously I was reading it the way I wanted to read it, and it was giving very, like, sexual undertones, and I was like, I don't remember him saying anything like, oh, Brienne, like, you look... Because I was like, I just remembered, like, the emotional vulnerability of it, but because I was reading it here, and he already was hard, like, I was reading it that way, so I just couldn't remember if there had been anything like that, because I was like, if there had, I would have remembered that. Like, there's no way. But yeah.
But he tells himself to remember your vows, and this is one of those snarky comments where he's like, Pia is more fit for Tyrion's bed than yours.
Yeah.
Which is like weird. Insulting to both of them. Like, just no. But he does tell his squire named something
Peck.
With Peck. It's Peck. Okay, sorry. What kind of name is Peck? He tells Peck clearly has a crush on Pia, so he's like, well, if she'll have you y'all should have sex and use this room. We're gonna be at dinner for hours. So, like, that was nice.
God.
Very thoughtful of him.
Oh my god.
And he also tells her to be kind and gentle, so I appreciated that. Tells him to be kind and gentle to her. I don't know which pronouns I used where, so just everybody be nice.
Oh my god. See, that was nice, but then he also was like, you don't want to marry her, but treat her like you would. And that just, I was like, is this just another dig? Or is this like, oh, like she doesn't have status, so you wouldn't want to marry her?
Yeah, but who is this Peck guy? Like, what status does he have? Do we know?
Yeah, that's what
I mean, honestly, like, to be the squire to the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, he probably is some kid of some guy, But
also
whatever.
His name is just Peck, so...
Peck is probably his, like, nickname.
His pod, if you will.
Sure. He's like Peckery or something.
Peckery Bernstein III. Oh my god.
So Jaime gets dressed for...
Bro, Mott's will tell us. Mott's, what's his real name? This is probably one of Mott's favorite characters, let's be honest.
That's so true, though. Pia and Peck sitting in a tree. Okay, so Jaime gets ready for dinner, and like I said, he wears his Lannister clothing as well as his golden hand. And he's like, his duty waited
Darker need had brought him here.
Yes. Thanks for interrupting me while I was gonna say the whole thing.
Line. I really wanted to say that line, okay?
Whatever.
I was reading this chapter, and just every single thing that he said, I read as horny. So, there you go.
Okay, sure. So they're at dinner. Lancel is not there because he is fasting.
He's sick with grief for the poor High Septon.
So if you remember, like, when he got injured, the High Septon, like, the guy who died, was, like, hanging out with him.
Oh, that's why. I was like, bro, he's been dead for a while. Why is he sad now? Oh, because he was his homie.
Yeah. But also, so I wonder if, I mean, he's, like, super pious now, so maybe they will get along, but I was a little curious, like, whether this new guy's methods will go along with Lancel's methods,
Yeah, that's true. But I guess Lancel is also kind of new to it, right? So
yeah, so he's moldable, I guess.
Yeah.
Gullible. Then, there's food. Blah, blah, blah.
And Amory shows up.
Yeah.
Well, not shows up, but Amory. Now he basically talks to Amory.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call her Amy because it's just better, easier. And he's talking about, oh yeah, I knew your dad, but so she starts crying. Apparently she's grieving for her father, who is Merritt Frey of last book's epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like such a strange detail, but this is so she's like, oh yeah, the outlaws killed him. Father had only gone out to ransom Peter Pimple. He brought them the gold they asked for, but they hung him anyway. Hanged, Amy. Your father was not a tapestry. And now whenever I think of like if somebody is being hanged, I think of this line to like make sure my grammar is correct.
Oh, that's smart.
You know? So if I'm ever
that's
like,
so cute.
This person like was hung, no, hanged.
He's not a tapestry.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That honestly, I enjoyed that line a lot. Like,
yeah, it's a random detail, but ever since I read it that very first time, for years, it's been like my go-to reference for making sure I have the grammar correct.
Yeah, literally. That's funny. Like, she's talking about, like, oh, my pate was so brave. And Jaime's like, when I was a squire, I thought I'd be the one to slay the smiling knight.
Yeah. Pate is also her husband. Her first husband who died. That's how the conversation starts. And then moves on to her dad, who also died. And Jaime's like, oh yeah, he was strong. Like, he's trying to think of a compliment, but it's very hard to compliment the guy.
Oh my god.
He says, we were squires together once at Crake Hall. He would not go so far as to claim they had been friends. So they drink to his memory. It was easier to drink to the man than to talk of him, which is just so...
Which is such a Jaime thing to say, too. Oh my god.
So after the toast, Amy stops weeping, and then they talk about wolves roaming the Riverlands. Like, this is a constant comeuppance. Okay, that doesn't...
It's a constant topic of conversation for sure. Like, it comes up again and again. But also, like, I feel like it's been coming up more recently, which might also be because we're seeing people in the Riverlands more recently.
Right.
That might be why we're hearing about it more. I'm interested to see how this is gonna, like, come to a head, though, because I feel like we're hearing about it more and more and more. Mm-hmm. Like, George R. R. Martin is beating us over the head with this, and I'm like, when do we get the payoff for, like, Nymeria coming in and, like, saving the day from, like, something. She's gonna relieve the river on siege.
Oh, okay, interesting. So then the conversation kind of dwindles, and Jaime's just, like, noticing all the things around him, some of which involves sexual harassment, and that's all I'm gonna say. So I just wanted to point that out, because it's not only the Ironborn whose dinners go that way, it's just apparently the norm, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he starts asking about the outlaws that killed Merritt, and they're like, we're not sure it was Beric. Like, Beric and... I was going to say Beric and Merrick. No, Beric and Thoros haven't been seen. Instead, there's this woman cloaked and hooded.
Ooh.
With a torn and scarred face, and is terrible to look upon, and she's the one who leads them. So,
slay.
I mean, I don't know if there's any new information there, but it's confirmation of information we've received previously.
Gatekeep, girl boss.
Yeah.
Gatekeep. Wait, what's the phrase? Gatekeep. Gaslight, girl boss. I was forgetting the phrase.
They're like, okay, interesting. And they're talking about, again, how, like, Beric can't die, but then somebody's like, he can die. And Amy starts talking about Sir Harvin and how he's gonna be the one to bring me Lord Beric's head. He's very gallant, and it's clear she's got a crush on this guy. And Jaime's like, I wonder if they be having sex. And later on, when he tells Lancel's like, well, if they like each other, I hope they're happy. So,
that's sweet. Honestly, gotta say, I did not side note, did not expect this from Lancel's arc We can talk about it more later. Just every time he comes up, I'm like, when he was first introduced, like, I would have never been like, he's gonna go join, you know, and like do all these things.
Yeah. Almost dying can change a person.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, Jaime, we would have never thought he would have ended up as this person either, but...
He's asking about, like, where were this band of outlaws last seen? Apparently, they vanished into the neck somewhere. So, they're, like, north of the phrase, apparently. I don't know. But also, who knows when this was and where they have been since then. It's hard to really track them.
Maybe that was, like, end of book 3, like, when we saw them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We saw them at Old Stones.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
So this was after Old Stones, but then again, it's been a while.
Where was Old Stones again?
Old Stones is it's south of the Twins, and the neck is north of the Twins. So they were like moving northward the last time they were seen, but it's not clear where they are now.
Okay.
The only thing I kind of have to say is, so I don't know how much of her faculties zombie Catelyn has, right?
Mm-hmm.
But remember how Robb dispatched a few of his lords into the neck with, like, his message about Jon being his heir and all of that?
Yeah.
I just wonder if this has anything to do with that. Because we never really heard what happened to that letter.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. That was like, yeah, maybe. Especially because it was definitely like the same area. Yeah.
Oh, and Old Stones is like halfway between Riverrun and the Twins. That makes sense because it was at Old Stones that Robb made his will.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so and that time they were on their way from Riverrun to the Twins, so logic. Okay. Yeah, but they're just basically theorizing. I wonder if the Cranningmen are sheltering them. Who knows what's going on? And, you know, the small folk are always hiding them. And Jaime's like, well, you know, back in the day, how Arthur Dayne dealt with it was actually treated them well so that they were on his side. Anybody ever think of that?
What a wild concept. Why would you ever do that?
Yeah, but also, Jaime, why didn't you make this argument to your dad who sent the mountain and, like, other people literally to raid the lands? Like,
True.
Anywho. So Jaime's like, okay, basically, there's other conversation. They're talking about the Hound and the salt pans and, like, the devastation he's caused there. This is, again, something that won't stop coming up.
Yeah.
And Jaime's like, well, what makes you certain that it was the Hound? And everybody's like, well, he was seen. That helm of his is not easily mistaken or forgotten. And the people who survived can recall it, so...
Oh my god.
Yeah, they just... this is when he's like, okay, time for me to go. And he gets up and he's like, I gotta go see my cousin. And he leaves the hall, and outside a bunch of people are eating, and that it's like the sparrows are gathered there and they're eating, and he's like, I wonder how much this is costing Lancel to feed all these people. What is he thinking? There's like no food around. He should be saving for winter. So he goes up to the sept, and there's some sparrows blocking the way. And they're like, well, he can't be disturbed while he's praying. And he's like, well, Lancel's my cousin. And they're like, we don't care.
Damn.
And they're like, well, he's praying for the soul of the High Septon and all the others who have died. And Jaime's like, well, they'll still be dead tomorrow. I don't have the same kind of time.
Oh my god.
He pulls the, do you know who I am? And one of the guys is like, some lord. Another one's like, some cripple. And finally, one of them's like, oh yeah, you're the Kingslayer, but we're not kings, so you can't slay us, apparently.
That was funny.
This is when Lancel finally takes the trouble to open the door and be like, it's okay, he can come in. So he's not looking great. I mean, not eating will do that to you. Just FYI, like, in case anybody was wondering.
Also, like, how does he think he's gonna be able to fight? Like, he already has been, like, bruised and battered.
Well, only while he's grieving. Once he's fighting, he's over the grieving. Then he can start eating again.
I know, but it's just like he's worsening his physical state. How's he gonna suddenly harden up?
Once again, logic. Who is she?
Right.
He's also wearing ragged-looking clothes and no shoes and all that stuff. And Jaime's first thing is like, have you lost your bloody wits? I prefer to say I've found my faith. Which is, okay, Lancel.
He's just basically, he's being all pious, and then he's making fun of him for being pious, and he's like, bro, please, like, go, like, can you please
go shower?
Go shower, go eat, go sleep with your wife, like, that's the only way you're gonna get a kid and keep this castle. And he's like, bro, I don't want it. And then he says, 7 saved me, but I wanted to be you, which kind of is like,
I mean, is that really a shock to anyone?
No, but, like, the fact, like, the way he says it, right? The fact that he's like, oh, God, I can't believe I used to want to be you.
Oh,
like,
yes.
You know? That, which is just such
like, the insult
so
to Jaime part.
Yes, exactly. It's so funny. Like, he's like, gosh, I can't believe I ever wanted that. Meanwhile, he is literally, like, has not eaten, does not look very well. And it was just a funny exchange. And then even Jaime laughs at that. He's like, bro, come on. And then he basically is like, oh, like, your wife is, like, totally crushing on Hardstone. But he says it in a weird way that I don't like.
I forget.
He's like, Derry needs a lion, cuz so does your little Frey. She gets moist between the legs every time someone mentions Hardstone. And I just was like, Jaime, calm down. Who was it? Who was the person where I made the argument that I was like, if they just go get some, they wouldn't be weird? There was someone that I do remember that.
No, I do remember us talking about that, but I forget who it was. Was it? No, it wasn't. Was it Jaime? Was it Cersei? Was it?
It could have been Jaime, actually. That would be funny if it was. I don't know, but it was someone. If anyone remembers, please tell me. But I basically was like, they're being weird because they ain't getting any. And that would solve all the problems that were coming up for them. Like, that we were like, why are you talking like that?
I think it might be Jaime.
That would be funny, because I was about to make the same argument.
Again?
Because he's just like, especially this chapter, I'm just like, just go do it if you're just gonna yap about it all the time. You know? Like,
yeah,
anyway,
but that would be like the final nail in the coffin of him being in love with Cersei, and that's a big step.
Right, yes, that's true.
Remember, like, he's never had sex with anybody but Cersei.
Wow, that is still wild to me. Oh yeah, Lancel's like Jaime's like, dude, you literally married her, like, you have this job, and Lancel was like, I didn't want to, I just did what Kevin told me to, you know? And basically Lancel is like, I'm gonna be like Baelor the Blessed, where, like, we got married, nothing happened, and now I'm moving on. But Jaime's like, dude, don't be like that. Once again, the religion versus the not. And then he starts confessing his sins to Jaime.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I need to do this because I have sinned, and the biggest sin is that he killed Robert. You killed the king, then you fucked the queen. I never lay with my sweet sister, never spilled my seed in her cunt womb. It's not treason unless you finish inside, which is such flawed logic.
Literally.
But it's
it's exactly what Cersei would have said to him.
Well, also, maybe we learned that he clearly confessed this to the previous High Septon. Maybe that was what the High Septon said to comfort him from his having committed his sins, you know?
Oh, God, yeah, that's true.
But also, if the High Septon who died knew, who else knows?
Mm-hmm. He died in the mob, right?
No.
No, Cersei killed him, right?
Yes, okay.
Okay, wait, no. Who was the one who died in the mob?
That was one before then. That was the fat one. Oh. This was the one after the fat one, obviously.
Oh, yes, right. Okay, yeah. Got it. Yes, okay. Right. And then Cersei was like, "Nar," and eliminated him. Yes, okay.
Nar.
It's just clarifying which High Septon was which, okay? Like we said last time, we need to start numbering these guys. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, and then Lancel basically is like trying to justify it and is like, oh my god. And then he's like, Tyrion made me betray her because Cersei had reason to be afraid of him. And it's like, what is this twisted logic you operate with?
Yeah, this is when like Tyrion rounded on him for having had sex with Cersei and then got him to tell about Cersei's like plans.
Yeah. But still, like, he just...
Oh yeah, I'm not... Once again, logic.
Yeah, like, wild. And then, yeah, and now Jaime has more material for the she's been fucking Moon Boy and husband for all I know. Lancel and... Well, I guess he already knew about Lancel, right? But he just didn't have the confirmation?
Yeah, this is confirmation.
Right, yes. Now he's
and
really
he suspects about Osmond.
Right, yeah.
And Moon Boy is... We know Tyrion just threw that in there, but who knows?
Yeah. And he's like, no, I loved her. I wanted to protect her. And he's like, you wanted to be me. And now he's flashing back to his whole experience. Oh yeah, and he's remembering after, like, they had their, like, sort of, not epic breakup, but, like, mini breakup, when she was like, Jaime, you can't be Lord Commander anymore. Like, you gotta come be my hand or whatever. And she'd said, like, oh, I've lied to you 1,000 times, and Jaime's now realizing, like, he literally is like, that might have been the only true thing she ever said to me, which is so sad. Like, he's been so loyal to her and, like, obsessed with her, and she's just like, nar, like, bye-bye.
I mean, that's what happens when you get in romantic relationships with your siblings, I imagine.
I don't know if that's exactly the, like, I don't know if I agree with that, if that's exactly what happens. I mean,
it also happens in other relationships, but I feel like the potential for toxicity is just higher. For sure,
yeah. Do not think ill of the queen, Lancel pleaded. Oh god. I couldn't with this conversation.
Yeah, basically they're like, it was no harm, no foul, no kids were born, like, we're fine. And this is when he's like, yeah, I totally confess to His Holy Highness that I did all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was put in place by Tyrion, and contrary to Cersei's belief, I don't think he was, like, against Cersei, so he, like, him being in place might have actually been protecting Cersei, you know?
Right.
Like, imagine that Lancel confesses this to the current High Septon. What do you think is going to happen?
That's not going to be good. He definitely would not be on Cersei's side. He already, like... But also with the deal, though, he probably wants to keep the deal in place. But I guess once he gets the signature, it would be hard to repeal the deal. So then he can just kind of be like, Cersei, bye-bye, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And with Lancel, I don't trust him to keep his mouth shut like that.
I mean, he is also heading to join them right now, so...
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, he's gonna get there, and if he has an emotional breakdown, he's gonna tell everything.
Yeah. So...
Well, that's good for us.
Yeah. Well, is it? I guess.
Well, I'm not on Cersei's side, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it would make an interesting chapter, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So... Lancel is just like, okay, so now that I have done all this repenting, I am renouncing my lordship and my wife, and they can go and do whatever they want, and tomorrow I'm going to return to King's Landing and swear my sword to the new High Septon and the Seven, and I'm going to join the Warrior's Sons. And Jaime's like, those don't exist anymore. Yeah. But this is when he gets the news that they have been revived, and he's like, but why would Cersei let that happen?
Oh my god.
One of the early Targaryen kings had fought for years to suppress the two military orders. So, yeah.
Damn. I still can't believe we're doing this. Yeah, and he's like, okay, even if that's true and that's happening, you need to be here. Like, you're a Lion of the Rock. Why would you throw all the things away for some vow? And Lancel's like, why did you?
Mm-hmm. And he wants to say, like, for honor or glory, but it's really for Cersei. And he says to Lancel, yeah, or is it the same for you? Are you just running back to my sister? Pray on that. And Lancel's like, well, pray with me. And Jaime's like, no. So he leaves, gets the...
He says, I thought that I was the warrior and Cersei was the maid, but all the time she was the stranger, hiding her true face from my gaze.
Yeah, but you're not quite the warrior yourself, Jaime. Like, I am with the criticism of her, but I also think, like, he needs to self-criticize a little bit here, you know?
Yeah. Well, all I know about the warrior is just the fight, fight, fight. And that's Jaime, right? Or is it supposed to be, like, honorable fight, fight?
I think
and that's
that.
not Jaime. Okay. Well, at least he's working towards it. Okay.
Maybe. We do give him too much slack.
That's true.
So he leaves, and the sparrows are like, no, he says to the sparrows, thank you, I feel ever so much holier now. And then he goes and finds Sir Ilan, and they go to the Godswood, where none of the sparrows are, because that's a northern thing, so obviously they're not going to be there, because they are of the Seven. Mm-hmm. So they're doing their fighting, and he takes this opportunity to get some stuff off his shoulders. Mm-hmm. Which is, he points to the window of, like, the Lord's bedchamber, and he recounts to... I'm just gonna read it. He recounts to Sir Ilan, when King Robert slept... That's where King Robert slept on our return from Winterfell. Ned Stark's daughter had run off after her wolf-savaged off, you'll recall. My sister wanted the girl to lose a hand, the old penalty for striking one of the blood royal. Robert told her she was cruel and mad. They fought for half the night. Well, Cersei fought, and Robert drank. Past midnight, the queen summoned me inside. The king was passed out, snoring on the mirrorish carpet, which is why he remembers that detail. I asked my sister if she wanted me to carry him to bed. She told me I should carry her to bed, and shrugged out of her robe. I took her on Raymond Derry's bed after stepping over Robert. If his grace had woken, I would have killed him there and then. He would not have been the first king to die upon my sword, but you know that story, don't you? As I was fucking her, Cersei cried, I thought she meant me. But it was the Stark girl that she wanted, maimed or dead. The things I do for love. It was only by chance that Stark's own men found the girl before me. If I had come on her first... ... So... This is quite a reflective moment.
God.
And this is after he has already pushed Bran out the window as a thing I do for love. Like, I'm not saying it's Cersei's fault that he did that, but he did do it under this, like, guise of love for her or whatever. Yeah, she wanted her hand. We didn't know this detail. And Jaime would have brought it to her if he had been the first one to come upon her.
And also the fact that they were having sex, like...
on top of Robert, basically.
Yeah. Cersei, Jaime, Robert threesome confirmed. Yeah, like, all that, like, there was no amount of care. There was no corner of the earth he wouldn't have gone to.
Yeah, it's like... I guess toxic devotion is the word of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, with Jaime, with Lancel, with Victarion, with, like, everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
It adds a lot more context to the, like, you know when he, like the thing in the Sept? Like, when he's just like, no, let's have sex right here.
Oh, yeah.
And also when, like, he's like... I'll declare you proudly in front of everyone. I don't care what anyone says. Mm-hmm. Like, when he comes back, like, that entire conversation in the Sept and what happens, like, this also kind of adds context, because it's like, no, that wasn't just him, like, seeing his lover after years, and that was, like, the desperation. Like, it wasn't. This is just how they've always been. You know what I mean? Like, just that sense of, like, not carelessness, but just, like you said, like, the devotion is so far entrenched in his brain that there's no room for logic. Like,
and it's a kind of devotion that leads to assault too. Just FYI, let's put that back in
the
context of that scene.
Yeah,
like, it's harmful to everyone. It's like toxic masculinity. The people it's harming the most are the people practicing it. So
yeah, it's, like, weird. I guess what I'm trying to say is I just didn't realize that, like, the degree of it all, I guess, like, how intense it all was, wasn't a recent development. Like, kind of, like,
that's why it's so hard to untangle the relationship. Because you're like, because they're both pulling away, but they are both having difficulties.
Yeah. It's like with, like, Cersei's drinking that we know has, like, definitely, like, that we know for a fact has, like, gotten a lot worse, right? Like, now that she's become queen, and, like, her dad died and she's estranged from her, like, lover twin toxicity dynamic, you know? And, like, she's worried about Tyrion coming back to haunt her. Her son is dead, right? Like, those are some things that, like, she's always been, like, a little bit, like, what the heck? Like, even with, like, you know, the Battle of the Blackwater, all the things she was saying to Sansa and the way she was acting, like, she's always kind of been a little bit unhinged, but, like, that I feel like we can point to and say, like, it has gotten worse as recent events have happened, and we can kind of trace that. But this, like, I just feel like the more Jaime tells us, the more I'm like, this has always been the case? Yeah. It sounds like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I'm comparing. Like, I'm not saying, like, that he hasn't obviously done, like, heinous things too, but it's just, like, weird, because it just feels like it's always affected him more a little bit.
Right.
Like, their power dynamic and, like, the weird toxicity.
Yeah. He's more reflective, so it's more obvious. Cersei just, like, she does the thing and she doesn't think about it ever again, you know?
That's true, yeah. So if she is hurting, like, we wouldn't know anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, because it's probably a two-way street with them both being the most toxic. Like, I'm trying to think of different words, but there's no word that hits like toxic does. So I end up just saying toxic after a 20-second pause. Like,
All right, so let's talk predictions.
Guys, do not have sex with your siblings. It's the life
I don't
lesson.
think you need to really clarify that.
I know, but I just feel like this is just so bad. This feels like a cautionary tale that none of us need, but we should still internalize.
How about more of like a just practice healthy relationships, period. You know?
That's true. There's a better way to phrase it. Yeah. Just because some of these dynamics, you're right, like, it doesn't have to be with your sibling to be this level of toxic.
Yeah, and like, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship to also be toxic.
That too. This is just, like, some of those components are just, like catalysts for their specific brand of toxicity, but you can get this otherwise too. So just don't...
Beware the toxic.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
predictions. How is Jaime gonna, like, he's now got the confirmation that he was seeking. Is this gonna impact anything?
I don't think so. I think they're already kind of getting real estranged. It'll probably just be like when he goes back, we might get epic breakup.
Okay. I mean, I think we already did predictions about River Run, so I don't think we need to do those again, because like that hasn't really changed.
I think so. Yeah.
Lancel joining that the Seven. How's that gonna go?
That'll certainly be interesting.
That you're saying nothing with that.
I'm thinking. Shush your face, okay? I think Cersei's gonna be like, what the frick? Why are you back here? I don't know how Kevin feels about this. I think it'll just be...
I think we know how Kevin feels about this.
Well, yeah, but, like, we haven't gotten, like, an active, like, what the fuck, you know? But also, like, I think it'll probably just lead to Cersei's demise, like, not, but, like, I feel like I'm kind of tired of predicting that, though, because it feels like everything's going to do that. Every single decision that's made, I'm like, oh, Cersei, that's going to bring you down. That's going to bring you down. And at this point, I'm just kind of trying to figure out who exactly is going to bring her down.
Which one of them is going to be the it that brings her down.
Exactly. So, yeah, this will probably contribute, too. And, like, I don't know specifically what's going to happen. I guess, like, I wonder how Lancel's going to feel, like, once he starts fighting, if he's gonna be, like...
Fighting what?
Like, he's gonna fight, right? In, like,
He's joining the Warrior Sons, but who is he, like, their whole thing is, like, we're protecting the faith. But who are they fighting?
Anyone who attacks, like, septs. Like, I feel like they would dispatch people to, like, prominent septs and stuff to be like, hey, you're stationed here, and then have, like, a home base at King's Landing.
Okay, sure. So once he starts fighting,
I feel like I don't know, there could be, like, a conflict there, right? Like, I just feel like, I don't know if he knows what he's getting into. Or maybe he's just been so indoctrinated that he just won't even think about it. But, like, just because he's in it for, like, religion saved me, it's helping me atone for my sins, for all the things that I feel bad about, and he's getting comfort, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now he's kind of going down this path of, like, I'm not going to eat, I'm so devoted, and I'm going to fight. But it's kind of like, he's already been fighting for other people and regretted that too. Like, he's kind of been a pawn for a lot of people at this point. And it sucked. So I guess I'm just kind of hoping for maybe some character growth, but I'm worried about it just being a repeat of what his life has already been anyway.
Okay. It's a lot of concern for Lancel. That's nice of you. Okay.
Thank you.
Are Amy and Harwin gonna get together?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other predictions. Can you?
Nar.
All right. Let's move on to next chapters then. Once again, we are reading 2 chapters next time. Give me your hopes and predictions. Keeping in mind how close we are approaching the end.
Okay, we have to have a Dany chapter before this book ends, right?
Do we?
We can't just go an entire book without her. So let's say Dany, and let's say Jon. I feel like I've predicted that for like the last 5 times, but here we go.
And just like the last 5 times, you are wrong.
Sad.
How do you feel about that? Just sad.
Makes me sad.
Sorry, I formulated the question before you said sad, and I still said it even after you said sad.
Yeah, I'm so confused. Okay. Well, that's like when we haven't seen Dany at all. We're like almost 3/4 through. What is going on?
Any ideas?
I don't know. Are we just being kept in the dark? Like, I don't know.
Anyone else we haven't seen in a while?
Davos. Theon. Catelyn.
We hear about her every day, so.
That's true. Okay, Bran.
Okay. Alright, well, I guess that's that. So, next chapters we're reading 31-32. Chapter 31 is Brienne.
Oh, nice. Okay, this book is very Brienne Arya. Jaime, Cersei, basically.
Yes, okay. It is.
We also haven't seen Tyrion in a while. I forgot about that. Brienne is... Where is she again? She's moving through... Where is she going, though? Like, specifically. I literally can't remember where Brienne's trying to go.
Let me think.
Like...
Okay. Oh, they met up with Captain Maribald and Dog, and they were traveling with him to Maidenpool, I think.
Okay, so...
Like, that was their ultimate destination. Looking for the Hound, looking for the Stark girl.
Okay, so maybe they find the Hound. And it's bad.
Okay, cool. Chapter 32 is Cersei.
my god, we just saw Cersei. Cersei is girl bossing, gatekeeping girl bossing. Cersei, what did she just do? The High Septon stuff. Oh yeah, and then she just was like, this is a great plan, and then she was drinking with Merryweather girly. Maybe she'll find out why it wasn't such a good plan. She'll probably be getting, the contract drawn up, getting some news. I don't know.
Okay.
Just vibing.
All right. I want you to go back to the people we haven't seen in a while and write down a list.
Okay. I'm scared. Like right now?
Yeah.
On air?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting. TikTok.
Okay, yeah. I think I got the ones we haven't seen at all this book.
Why don't you name them for me?
Okay. Tyrion, Dany, Davos, Bran, Jon.
You got it.
Nice.
And those characters
what did I get?
Will not show up in this book.
What? Why?
We have been waiting for you to put that together for 30 chapters.
Why not?
Because, you know what, I'm just gonna skip ahead and, I'm
so confused. Why won't they show up? Why?
Here's
but usually they stay until they die. This is the first book where that has changed.
Yeah. I'm gonna read you a little note from George R.R. Martin, which is at the end of this book, but I'm gonna read it now.
Dude.
It's titled, Meanwhile, Back on the Wall. Hey, wait a minute, some of you may be saying about now. Wait a minute. Where's Dany and the dragons? Where's Tyrion? We hardly saw Jon Snow. That can't be all of it. Well, no, there's more to come. Another book as big as this one. I did not forget to write about the other characters, far from it. I wrote lots about them, pages and pages and pages, chapters and more chapters. I was still writing when it dawned on me that the book had become too big to publish in a single volume, and I wasn't close to finished yet. To tell all of the story that I wanted to tell, I was going to have to cut the book in two. The simplest way to do that would have been to take what I had, chop it in half around the middle, and end with "to be continued." The more I thought about that, however, the more I felt that readers would be better served by a book that told all of the story for half the characters, rather than half the story for all of the characters. So that's the route I chose to take. Tyrion, Jon, Dany, Stannis and Melisandre, Davos and all the rest of the characters you love or
Davos.
Love to hate will be along next year, I devoutly hope. He has it in brackets, in Book 5, which will focus on events along the Wall and across the sea, just as the present book focused on King's Landing. So when we start Book 5, we're gonna go back in time and read the stories of these characters. So, Davos may die, but we will just, read the chapters leading up to his death.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
What the fucking hell? I don't like this.
So 1%. He wrote, this book came out in 2005, and he was like, next year, I devoutly hope, you'll get the next one. Guess when Book 5 came out?
2013.
2011. So, basically.
I would be so mad. This man, I hate him. Why? That's so dumb. Okay, I get what he's saying.
Now you see why some people don't like this book.
Oh my god! I I feel the stupidest
love this
person
book,
in the world.
Despite all of this, I love this book.
I feel so stupid. The amount of times I've asked you why people don't like this book. And it was right there. I haven't seen my faves.
And you kept predicting Jon and Dany, but you were never until today. Like, there's actually a bunch of people who aren't here.
I was never like, why? Why am I so stupid? What the heck? I just every time was like, don't worry, they'll still show up.
You're not stupid. George R.R. Martin is stupid for writing the book this way.
Because I swear, like, there have been so many times where they showed up right at the end. So even if I had, like, started to suspect it, it still would have been like, oh, they'll show up at the end. And
I don't think there was any book where characters didn't show up until the end. Like, usually got all the POVs within the first 25% of the book.
Okay, well, in my head, we didn't. Okay, I'm not saying that's what actually happened, but the way I felt it was I was like, oh, we don't get characters until later anyway. And especially, I think with Tyrion, I was like, he's got to keep the mystique. So, of course, he's shutting us off right now for a while. With Jon, have we not had a single Jon chapter this book?
No, we just had Sam's chapter when he left the wall.
Okay, with Jon, genuinely, with all due respect, didn't realize it. I knew we hadn't seen him. I knew we hadn't seen him in a while, but I didn't realize that it was not at all this book. Because, once again, even in the other books, not all the time. Like, I think in book 3 we saw him the most that we'd ever seen him, like, continuously.
So it was 63% of the way through the book that you were like, actually closer to 70%. 70% of the way. Wait, you know what? 6, 5, 6. I'm gonna do, because this includes the appendix, and I'm gonna not include that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
70% of the way through the book that you realize that we hadn't had characters for the entire book.
Oh my god. Oh, like earlier when I was like, oh my god, we haven't had a single, like, Dany chapter this entire time.
And that's when I was like, maybe today will be the day that I can tell you.
Were you just waiting for me to realize and then you were going to tell me?
And the conversations on Discord where people are like, when is she gonna get it?
I will say, the only thing I did realize is every time I edit an episode, I reflect, like, I listen to next chapters and I'm like, I keep guessing the same ones over and over and they keep not showing up. Weird how that works. And then I move on. I have that thought every single time I edit, and then I move on. Like, I never dwell on it to be like, I wonder why
what does that mean?
Happening. Yeah, I just haven't. Wow, I feel so bamboozled. Okay, how do you feel about this decision? Do you think this is a good decision?
Oh, it's definitely not a good decision, but I still love this book. So, like, it doesn't, like, take away from the book for me, because the book really works thematically for me, but of course, like, it's annoying.
Yeah. I guess I get it. Do you know the reason that makes me mad? Is because I was hopeful that with the 5 books, we would get, like, more plot. Like, we would get to, like, I guess what I was hoping was, if book 6 doesn't come out soon or ever, I would at least feel like we'd gotten so much plot in the first 5 books that I wouldn't need to, like, at least I could be a little bit happy with what we had. But now what I'm hearing is that at least a significant portion, if not all of book 5, will be context for what we already kind of know happens.
Kinda. Like,
because I don't know if end of book 4 is gonna align with end of book 5, or because book 5 is double the length, like, it has the multiple volumes, if it's gonna be like the first half ends up aligning with the first half, and then we get new content. But I don't know, right? So now I'm worried, like, as much as I would love to know what Tyrion's been up to, I'd also like to move forward in time.
I know.
Because I'm a very time-based person. So if all we're getting is context, I don't know if I'm going to like the book.
Well, people have compiled like this version of the books that's like a combo read, like where it's like read these chapters in this one and these in this one, and then you're like moving in forward. And there were a few people that like reached out and were like, maybe you should do that. And like we talked about it, but I kind of always knew I did not want to do that.
I don't think I would like to do that either.
Yeah, it's also so hard to keep track of that, and also it's hard to see the continuous themes in the book when you're reading it so disjointed like that.
I do understand. I will say, I do understand why he did it. I think if all the books were currently out, I wouldn't be mad about this. The reason I'm mad about it is because then he stopped.
Yes. Also, like, his rationale, like, I'm gonna split it geographically. Do you get geography? We have been to King's Landing, basically the Riverlands, Iron Islands, the Reach, Bravos.
Yeah.
How is that geographically cohesive?
I think he just kind of, you know how I like to define categories off of vibes? He defined the category of geography off of vibes instead of a map.
I guess, but like, yeah. So,
bro, that makes so much sense, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear a conversation we had on Discord at the beginning of October.
Absolutely.
So yes. I posted, "Hey folks, hope you've all been well. I want your advice on something. We'll be recording the next episode this week, and these chapters will take us past the halfway mark of the book. As you're all acutely aware, Harmat in her lovable fashion knows nothing. Hasn't even once mentioned how strange it is to not see several POVs. I plan to make a big deal about being halfway finished with A Feast for Crows and try to nudge her to say something about the POVs.
Did you do that?
Of course I did.
I don't remember it. I'm gonna have to go back to that episode.
If she questions it or theorizes, I will confirm it for her. However, if she remains clueless, should I tell her anyway? Or would you rather wait for her to get there on her own, even if it means that happens during the last chapter?"
Oh no.
And for the most part, like, so Dr. Dub was like, "I think letting her find that out on her own would be pretty cool experience for everyone." Brian said, "I want that discussion to happen, but the idea of Harmat guessing Dany and Jon chapters up to the end of the book is kind of hilarious." Bring up being halfway done and then let her get there herself. And Darius also said, "I say let her find out on her own." Mott seconded. "I'd love to see the discussion happen, but the devil on my shoulder tells me to let her come to that conclusion on her own." The angel on my shoulder went on vacation this week, so he doesn't get a say.
Y'all really just... Nobody was like, throw her a bone.
Well, the next one was, I was like, I feel like you should go hard on the hints, like bring up the missing POV characters as much as you possibly can.
Did you do that?
I did. I've been doing it progressively more since then. I'm actually kind of glad that Harmat hasn't picked up on it yet, because it means she's enjoying the hell out of the POVs we do have, and we love to see it, so... Yeah.
Damn. Okay, I have thoughts, and they're formulating, but not in, like, a human way. Like, they're just kind of electricity in my brain right now. Like, I need to pull them out as actual thoughts. Hold on. I'm gonna need a second to think.
Take a minute.
I have so much to think on right now. This is wild.
Well, you think on that. We have emails to read today, but I noticed that we just got a new email, so I'm gonna read that while you think.
Okay. Because I do kind of understand, like, where he's coming from. But, because in book 3 sometimes... we had so many POVs too, and sometimes you get jumbled. Like, it makes sense to kind of keep it, like, thematically similar and, like, just kind of finish the stories off. So I do get it, but I think but in my defense, I will say, we took that month and a bit break in September.
It was, like, 1 month. Was exactly.
Okay, shush.
It was only one less episode than usual.
And, like, that, and also, yeah.
Sure.
That's my defense, and yeah.
Like I said, it's not really even your fault. It's really George R. R. Martin's fault. But eventually it got to be a lot. So I'm glad you kind of got there somewhat there today so that I could just get it done with.
Oh my god. Well, I think I just kept hoping that they would show up. I think genuinely
You're just an optimist.
I think the only defense I actually have for myself is that I didn't think it was weird because I just figured they would show up later. So even when I would briefly think about it, I was like, well, that's fine, because we'll see them later. Like,
critical thinking has left the chat.
No.
I'm just kidding.
It's called conditioning. Because we just came from book 3, where we did have, like, I swear we had 2 Dany chapters and, like, 3 Jon chapters, but we had 80 chapters.
No.
So eventually you just get used to, like, okay, I haven't seen this person in 300 pages, and that's fine. You know? There's a lot of POVs.
Alright. Okay, so, want to read some emails?
Oh my god, I'm completely wrong. Dany had...
Yeah, you are very wrong.
Yeah, Dany had 6 chapters, Jon had 12.
Yeah.
I was so wrong. Okay, well, yeah, it was definitely, that was wrong. In my head, they literally had none, but that might also be blurred by the fact that, like, right now we've had none, so I think I'm just projecting that onto Storm of Swords. Oh my god. This is a wild thing that we do.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention, we also go Dorne in this book, which is also not just King's Landing.
Right, yeah.
Alright, everyone, so I'm gonna introduce the emails, and Harmat's gonna read them this time. So the first email is titled, I'm New Here. It's from Ina, it's I-N-A. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but the pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate. So...
Okay, so the subject is, I'm new here. Hi, Nevin Harmat. My name's Ina. Pronouns Hershey, like the chocolate, and even though I haven't caught up yet, I just listened to the Red Wedding episode and couldn't resist sending an email. First of all, I want to say I adore this podcast. No one I personally know has read A Song of Ice and Fire, and I only know 3 people who have watched the show, my parents and a friend, and they are all just casual watchers. Not me, though. There's nothing casual about my feelings about this series. Like Nev, I watched the show first, and even before watching it, I was spoiled on almost everything. Oh, wow. Damn. I can't imagine. I even read fanfics before. Oh, sorry, got confused. I was reacting to it as I was trying to say it. I even read fanfics before actually watching Game of Thrones, because I never thought I would ever get around to it. Probably because the first glimpse I ever got of it was when my parents were watching the shadow baby birth scene. Kind of traumatizing for a 10-year-old. Wow. I even spoiled myself about the books by reading about theories, so getting to live vicariously through Harmat has been a great experience. Knowing everything, the Red Wedding still hit me really hard. I cried at both, but the book version hurt me a bit more. The actors were amazing, but reading Catelyn's thoughts and desperation was something else. Also, I unconsciously perceived Robb to be way older in the show. I remember reading the chapter where Catelyn kinda scolds Robb, and he asks if she's gonna send him home to Winterfell, and realizing how young he truly was. Not to mention, Arya was almost there! I agree with Harmat. All of us, including George R. R. Martin, needs therapy! That's funny. Also, some things I want to mention. Number 1, I'm a fellow Jon and Jaime fangirl, and Jaime's POV might be my favorite. Let's go! That's me. My top 6 characters, I couldn't narrow it down to 5, in no particular order, are Jon, Jaime, Dany, Brienne, Sansa, and Arya. And I'm curious about yours, even though you probably answered this question 1,000 times.
So... Jaime's definitely one of ours mutually. I guess I'll like Jon, whatever. He can be a little too emo sometimes, and I have enough emo in my life.
Oh my god.
My other favorite character that I still don't want to reveal that you wouldn't... Back when you wouldn't have like in book 1. So put yourself in the mindset of book 1, okay? That's when I was like, you wouldn't believe who my favorite characters are. And one of them is Jaime, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The other is Sansa.
Oh, okay,
like,
I get
her
it.
arc, just, you know?
Ah.
But obviously, like, how can I not love Arya and Brienne and Asha? Like, you know?
The characters that are written to be loved, of course. Yeah.
And there's, like, not more characters necessarily, but, like, more story to come that I can then be like, I also love this person, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so, interesting.
I like Dany, but
she's not a fave?
She's not in the way that the others are.
What do you think? Do you think it's her holding her back, or do you think because
it's
she's
the fact
so
that
disjointed?
She's so disconnected from the rest of the story? Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay. What about you?
I think, I feel like every time we answer this, my answer changes. And now I'm trying really hard to be more consistent, but I don't remember what I said
You can change
before.
your answer. Oh, also Davos. I'm sorry. Davos is the greatest man of all time. I can't believe I forgot to mention him.
Oh my god. See, that's so funny. How you feel about Dany is kind of how I feel about Davos sometimes.
That's fine. I mean, you don't have to love Davos like I love Davos. I can just love Davos.
But I'm just I'm just saying, like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Davos. But yeah, okay. Jaime and Jon are definitely like, whoa, up there. But I can't tell. Here's the thing. I can't tell if I like them more than my other favorites, or I'm just attracted to them like I'm not attracted to my other favorites. So that makes me, like, inflate how much I think I like them.
Your heteronormativity gets in the way.
It's getting in the way! No, absolutely it gets in the way. Like, that's like, not even a thing that needs to be said. But yeah, with them, that component kind of complicates things a little bit more. Other people, obviously, like Arya, Sansa, Brienne, Asha, all the girlies, but I don't know, from them, I don't know, like, okay, Arya, I think definitely wins from all of them, you know, like, if I could only choose one. The others, I think, are slowly making their way to becoming faves, but I don't know if they're there at, like, top tier. Like, with Arya, I think she could be on the tier of Jon and Jaime. But just because I'm not attracted to her, it complicates things.
Right.
But with the others...
I'm glad she's 11.
But with the others, it's kind of like, they're like, I think they're kind of more like B tier.
Okay.
And the other ones that I listed are A tier. I don't think I have an S tier yet.
You didn't say anything about Dany, whether she makes the list or not.
I think Dany is also B tier.
Okay.
And I know typically
so,
because
the guys and then all the girls.
Basically. And then I also like, but I don't know, because then I also like, I do really like Catelyn. Ned is also A tier.
Oh yeah, I wasn't counting dead characters. Like, if we start counting dead characters, then
there's a whole long list. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who my favorites are yet, because as you probably noticed, I don't have anyone in S tier. I only start at A tier, because I think I just have to read a bit more of the story to decide.
What's S tier? What are these tiers? Where did you come up? What?
The way tier lists work out on the world is S is like the best tier, and then you start A, B, C.
Oh, I didn't realize there was an S like above A. I just thought top tier, and then like you started listing them as A, B.
No. Top tier is S tier.
This is news to me.
And I don't have anyone in S tier, not because I don't love them, but just because I want to wait before I assign that to anyone. But as of right now, it's looking like Jon, Jaime, and Ned are probably going to end up there, and probably Arya, and then probably a couple others, but we just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
And then, yeah, that's kind of where it goes.
Continue reading the email.
Continuing the email. So that was point 1. Point 2. Braimy and Gendria are top tier ships. Great taste, Harmat. Thank you. Oh my god, thank you, Ina. I'm in love with those ships. Slay. Number 3. Words cannot describe how much I loathe Jorah Mormont, and I'm glad you agree. Thank you. We are Jorah Mormont exclusionaries. That's what we do. Number 4. As someone who's in the middle of her midterms right now, I can't imagine recording a podcast right now. I have no idea how you do it. Aw, thank you. We do our best.
Yes, that is literally it.
Yeah. Number 5. I joined Discord a few days ago. I haven't been active yet because I've never really used Discord, but I briefly looked over everything, and trust me, people, you want to join. Brackets. I got you, Harmat. Thank you. Thank you for the little promo. That's what I'm saying. Ina knows. Thank you, Nevin Harmat, for this wonderful podcast. It always makes my day. Best wishes, Ina. P.S. Sorry if I made any mistakes. English isn't my first language, and even in my language, I'm bad at grammar.
Same.
You're so real for that. Oh my god, thank you for your email, new friend.
So, Ina sent this, 20 days ago, okay? And then, as we were recording today, she sent this email.
Oh my god, Ina. It's like divine timing. You just knew. Okay, subject. I caught up. Woot woot. The woot woot is me. Hi, Nevin Harmat. So I finally caught up, and the only thing I can think is that not telling Harmat that she's not getting half of the POVs is diabolical. Okay, Harmat interjecting. Spoiler alert. Just got told. That's so funny.
That's why I was like, you can read this now. Yeah.
Literally, you probably sent it as we were being told. Anyway, that she's not getting half of the POVs is diabolical. And the fact that she's asking for Dany, Jon, and Tyrion every episode and hasn't caught on is absolutely crazy. Nev, I know you can't say that to her, but I really need you to explain that you are withholding information, and the fact that she hasn't realized it is driving me crazy. Okay, I know.
Well,
noted.
Now you can rest in peace, like the rest of us.
Oh my god. Speaking of things that are driving me crazy, Harmat has managed to make me see Hyle Hunt in a different light, and I'm not liking it. Yes. Oh my god, I love converting people. Is this how religious people feel when they dump their stuff on people? Oh my god, sorry, that was mean. That was
we
me,
ship
by the
Braimy
way.
in this household. Thank you very much, says Ina.
Yes. Okay. But hear me out. Both can be true. Both can coexist. Who says she has to commit to either of them? You know? It's okay. It can be like an open... Like, Jaime's still finding his footing. I don't think he's ready for a long-term relationship yet. They can just explore, you know? In an ideal world, they don't have to be fully committed, because I don't think that's good for either of them, because she's got to get with Hyle, and he's got to heal himself. Anyway, thank you, Ina. This is so validating. I'm not gonna ramble like in my first email. While writing that absolute monstrosity, I was giddy, brackets, hysterical, in a way only a sleep-deprived person can be. And to be fair, it was the first fan email I've ever written, which just goes to show how much I love this podcast.
Oh, that is so...
I can't believe...
honestly, it's like an honor of the highest order, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Like,
thank you.
You're like, I'm dying, midterms suck, I am sleep deprived, I've never written a fan email, but let's go. And I just like that, yeah, like you said, that's such an honor, oh my god.
We appreciate you.
Yes. I can't believe I have to wait for new episodes now. I was really spoiled with the year's worth of content. Still the
number one.
Okay. Still the number one Jorah hater, Ina.
Oh
my god, thank you, homie. You're so cool.
That was
amazing. Thanks for knowing that we were recording and sending this in
your
perfectly on time.
divine intervention with this email.
Literally. It's kind of like we're making up for the fact that we were so late with the other one.
Yeah, and the next email is from Pauline, also sent a while ago.
The subject is bingo. Dear Harmat and Nev, Hey, my name's First. You won't believe it, but I finally made it to A Feast for Crows and can now proudly say that I'm officially on the same book as you are. Let's go. Good job. That was me. And you also won't believe how happy it made me to be able to listen to my first email read out loud on the podcast, which was 7 months ago for you guys. But for me, it was yesterday morning at 8 o'clock, right before my very boring linguistics lecture, which was in fact very boring. But knowing that the email I had written so long ago had actually not gotten lost in spam was amazing and made my boring lecture a little more endurable. Aw, that's so sweet. But enough talk about me and...
Sorry to interrupt. Mm-hmm. If you sent an email in the past and we didn't read it, it is because it got lost in spam. So resend it, because for the longest time I didn't realize like listener emails were going to spam, but we have read every email we have gotten. So if there is an email you sent that you think may have gotten lost, please resend it. And I do make it a point to check the spam like weekly now. So just, sorry, interjection. Please continue.
But enough talk about me and my boring lecture. Let's talk about A Feast for Crows. I must say, it is not my favorite book in the series, even though the Cersei chapters are very endearing, and some of the plot lines, such as Arya's, are very interesting to me. Overall, I'm just a little bit annoyed by all the traveling and not really getting anywhere. Don't get me wrong, I love Brienne as a character, but her chapters are so fucking boring. I want to kill myself. There, I said it. Please don't hate me. The whole Dorne and Greyjoy stuff also never really got to me, but maybe it will on another reread. Although I really doubt that. Sorry.
Well, hopefully us talking about the chapters makes it more bearable. Makes it
a little bit more bearable for you. That's so funny that you're such an active hater of it. That's funny. Sorry. And then there's the fact that Dany, Jon, Tyrion, and Bran all just died off screen, never to be seen again. Cough. That was a joke. Just in case the ironic undertone got lost through email. Anyway, I wonder when Harmat figures out that they are all just got... I wonder when Harmat figures out that they all just got dumped off to the 5th book. If she's figured it out yet. If not, oops. So I thought it would be nice to update the drinking/bingo game now that I've listened to you more and the word slay has made it into Harmat's vocabulary, never to be not said again for less than 276 times per episode.
Wait, it made it into your vocabulary? I thought you were born saying slay.
Oh my god.
I want to know at what point it started getting, because like I wonder if, I don't know. I kind of really feel like you've always said it.
Well, I definitely didn't say it. Like, it only became a thing a couple of years ago, right?
Oh,
so in the podcast, you can... oh my god, for people binging the podcast, it's probably a drastic shift.
Yeah.
Because they're like, she used to say like, oh, that's funny, or haha, and now she just says slay to everything. Like, oh my god, that's funny. Okay, if you binged the podcast all at once, like recently, and you remember, tell me if that was like a jarring thing, or if it happened slowly. Like at first I would only say it a bit. Let us know. These are the important questions that we're asking, guys. Sorry, Harmat, but you know, slay. So here are some more suggestions. We'll start off with the low-hanging fruit. Number 1, slay. Though maybe people would get too drunk and taking a shot every time they heard that word. So maybe let's discount slay for the sake of the listeners. Number 2, please. I'm glad I'm reading this email.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of your sayings.
Exactly. Number 3, I'm dead. Even though the speaker is unmistakably alive.
I think somebody pointed out something like a recent conversation of ours.
Yes.
And you said this, and it was anyway. It was very ironic.
Yes. I know what you're talking about. It was a conversation where we were talking about death, and you said something about like, oh, it's fine. Nobody ever dies. It's okay. Let's move
it was
on.
because we were contemplating our own morality. Mortality, rather, not morality. We do both a lot.
We do both all the time.
Yeah, our mortality. And then I was like, no, we're not going to think about that. We're going to live forever. And you said, I'm dead in response to it.
Right.
And we just moved on because it's just such a thing you say.
Yeah, we weren't, like, thinking of it as, like, a thing, which is so funny.
Number 4.
Number 4, that's so funny. Also me. Number 5, insert character name is there.
Also you.
Also me. Number 6, whenever Nuv says they're tired or hungry. Number 7, whenever Nuv mentions the time due to being tired or hungry.
Listen, up until recently, we would record in the dead of night, which is not my best time. I am a morning person, okay? So it's that's my defense for that.
I'm dead. Okay. Whenever I just did one of the things on the list. Whenever there's an uncut break that lasts at least 5 seconds, because who cares about editing anymore? Brackets, I love your editing.
You're not wrong. Anytime I edit, we take turns editing. The only things I cut out are me coughing because yay chronic illness, and Harmat's family interrupting the session because yay families who don't understand boundaries. So everything else you get as is.
Oh my god. And in my defense, I love to leave pauses on there on purpose if they're dramatic. Because there are a lot of times, or like, they not necessarily, I said that wrong, like if they add something, like if there are times where it's comedic how long I take to think of a prediction or something, I will always leave the pause in. I'll usually shorten it because usually my pauses get so long that it's no longer comedic, it's just pathetic. But I usually shorten it to a length that makes it comedic. And a lot of the time I leave some of the pauses because it feels organic, but the rest I cut out.
Yeah, I have no defense and I honestly don't care. I will continue editing as I do. So enjoy.
But yeah, they do say in brackets, I love your editing. So I think they're cool with it. Number 9, whenever Harmat makes a prediction that is unbeknownst to her surprisingly accurate, brackets, applicable only for spoiled people, I guess. That's true. If you weren't spoiled, you wouldn't know that that was a thing.
Yeah.
Number 10, I like that happens often enough that we have it on here, though. That's very girl boss of me. Number 10, I would think of more things, but I'm tired and hungry, and it's late. Ding ding. So I still love your podcast. You're amazing, and I can't wait to hear this sometime in 3 months or something to help me get through my next lecture at university. Love, Pauline. Aww,
and then
so
Pauline
slay.
sent an email a couple days later following up.
P.S. Add number 10, Delulu. Number 11, vibing. And number 12, I have to write that down.
You said it earlier today.
Yes, I did. I'm pretty sure I definitely said 11 and 12 today.
Yeah,
I don't think I said Delulu,
good vibes.
though. Yes.
Well, we didn't have
funny.
a Cersei chapter, so we didn't have reason to use Delulu.
True. I just got read to filth, especially with the PS. Wow. I love that, though. I do love getting read to filth because I feel seen. You know?
Yeah.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for compiling that. We need to put this in our, like, you know how you said you were going to start making a list? Put this on the list.
Yeah,
all of these ones.
I did say that. I have not done that.
Just create, like, a new email folder and just make it bingo.
Okay, I will go back and do that when I have some time.
Sounds good.
All right. This next email is from Manny, and it's titled, Why Can't Ellen Payne Read?
Why can't Ellen Payne read?
Because we asked that last time.
Oh, okay. I thought this was like
I asked that last time.
Oh, yes, I do remember that. Okay. Dearest Harmat and Nav, sorry if this was discussed on the podcast.
No,
I don't
read.
Me when I don't know. Me when I'm the one who doesn't know how to read. I'm Ellen Payne. Dearest Harmat and Nav, sorry if this was discussed on the Discord. I don't use that platform so much anymore. It was a question of why Ellen Payne cannot read or write. As a noble, it stands to reason he should. However, members of House Payne are not equal. The highest ranked Payne we know of is Sir Ilyn, not Lord Ilyn. If there is a Lord Payne out there, maybe he can read and write, but saw no need to teach Ilyn, potentially a lower member of the main branch, but still a common knight with no governing duties. Further, some lords themselves don't even read or write, but leave that to their maester. There is one such in the histories, but spoilers.
I know who you're talking about.
Damn. Ilyn is also disabled at this point, and while it would make sense to adapt to that, this is a society that does not value people like Ilyn and would not help him learn. The only way this might not make sense is if Podrick could read as a member of a lower branch of the family and only a squire, but I can't find any info on that and don't remember. Manny. Slay.
Yeah.
Thanks for the info. So, we don't have any proof of Pod reading?
I don't think so. Like, I remember this one time he had memorized all the heraldry, like the banners and stuff, but you don't necessarily need to be able to read to do that. That's a good point.
Because, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And we never saw him be like, Pod, write this down or anything. Like Tyrion?
I don't think so. I guess not. We'll keep an eye on that now that Pod's with Brienne, you know?
Interesting.
That would be cool. So those are all our emails.
Those were so good. I literally, like, it feels, you know, sometimes you, like, watch people on the internet be like, oh my god, I'm so thankful for everyone who, like, talks about, like, if there's, like, artists on the internet or, like, creators or someone, it's like, sometimes I hear people say, like, oh my god, like, I'm so thankful, blah, 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 and I don't get it. I'm like, okay, but you say that all the time. But then it's like, I do this podcast and I'm like, no, I do get what they mean. Like, it sounds so repetitive sometimes when you hear someone say it over and over, but like, we really do mean it every time. Like, I feel like I speak for both of us that like, every time we get an email, it's just like, oh my god, like a real person out there genuinely like listens to us and enjoys us and like cares enough to be like, let me take time from my life to write in. Like, it's so nice.
And sometimes when I'm not like feeling up to recording, if I see that we have emails, then at least that gets me more motivated, you know?
Yeah.
To be like, at least we'll get to read the emails.
Yeah.
That's and so nice. Also, I usually read these emails like first thing of my day. So like whenever we get an email, because I read them as they come in, even though we don't always read them out to the podcast as they come in. But yeah. And I think this batch was a really good one for you to read because there was a lot of stuff specific to you, but also they mentioned the POV situation that you just learned about.
Encountered. My god, this was a wild episode. Oh my god. I feel like I've learned so many things today. Like, my mind is genuinely gonna explode. I can't keep it all in here.
So, thank you for everything. Thanks for making it to 3 hours of this. And send us more emails because we're greedy like that. And follow us on Instagram and join the Discord. And until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.